generation of warfare, psychological warfare. In modern conflict, the mind is a potent weapon. Discover General Michael T. Flynn's groundbreaking guide, A Citizen's Guide to Fifth Generation Warfare. Unlock tactics, strategies, and the mindset to navigate this cognitive battlefield that we all find ourselves in. Equip yourself against manipulation and emerge unscathed. Unleash your potential. Order now.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the AlphaWarrior Show. It is night number 3 of Just Alpha. What would this be? Just Alpha 3.0? You guys know the routine. I'm running solo. I don't have a guest. So that means I need the 5x5s. I need the loud and clears. I need the all good, the thumbs up. Whatever you guys want to do to pop smoke, signal the flare. It's been a crazy week, but I just want to make sure that our sound is good on all the different platforms before we push on. And if you can hear me, one of the things you can do to prove it is smash that thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, and share. It is July the 8th, 2026. Did I say June on Operation Gladio? I think I might have said June. I don't know, but it is July. For those of you that have been following the content, good. All the 5x5s are coming in on different platforms. We got YouTube throwing up the flames, smashing the heart. I see some 5x5, some thumbs up. You guys are a good audience. you guys take care of me, so that one's for you guys. But a lot going on, and I know we're about 19 minutes late, but I wanted to go and hug the family. I had to tear down a soup real quick, take all my supplements and stuff. So y'all don't want me don't want me to crash. Right? be doing the podcast. So you guys just couldn't see. Just bomb out. You guys have no idea how tired I am. I guess that's where I'm going. But we're in war, and you know what? Sometimes you're gonna be tired in war, and we just gotta push on. Day 3, Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson murder trial. Seen some people out there that are like, not a lot to talk about. I'm like, what? I got my notes. I got some video clips. And then after that, we're going to finally get into the coup d'etat. And then listen, we're going to go the distance tonight, folks. We're going the distance. We're going to get into some of the comms out there. We're going to get on Elon pushes Q and JFK. Pretty popular video. We're going to watch it for the umpteenth time tonight because we just are. And then we'll see if some other things that are in play. But just so you guys understand how busy it is, I have three shows that are extremely important that are recorded that I'm like, I've been trying to get them out, but I'm watching the trial, I'm prepping this stuff. So just so you guys know, there's 3 shows, and tomorrow there's going to be a 4th show that I haven't even got to play for you guys. And one of them's time sensitive, so I'll have to put that in the front one. Judy A. Rogers on Rumble says, can't handle hungry alpha. Y'all don't listen. Yeah, I'm calm and all that, but y'all don't want hangry. You don't want hangry alpha. So definitely don't want that. But let's have a good show tonight, folks. And with that, let me see if Rumble's got anything in the shoot for me. If not, we're going to go with and they do. Check that out, folks. You're going to see something populate on your screen right now. That's a QR code on my shoulder. Make sure you take a screenshot of that. Alpha, I don't see a QR code for the Rumble wallet on my shoulder. It's because you're watching on the wrong platform. We hear a lot about crypto, but here's the part most people miss. Crypto was created so that you could actually own and control your money. After the 2008 financial crisis, Bitcoin was designed as an alternative to banks. So instead of a bank holding your money, delaying transfers, or limiting access, you're in control. And if you've ever had to wait to get a transfer to clear, you felt that problem. Now, fast forward to today. Everybody's heard of crypto, but getting started still feels a little bit complicated. That's exactly why I use Rumble Wallet. It takes all the complexity and it makes it simple. Choose what you want: Bitcoin, dollar-backed stable coins, or even digital gold backed by real gold. Not complicated setup. It connects with MoonPay so that you can use your credit card, debit card, or bank and be up and running in just a few minutes. Once you're set up, you can even support your favorite Rumble creators like me directly. So do this right now. Here's the directions, folks. Complicated. I know you guys can make this happen. Scan the QR code or click the link in the description or the live chat and download the Rumble wallet if you haven't done so already. From there, you can set up your wallet, tap buy, and you're in the game in just a few minutes. You can go from hearing about crypto to sending alpha, some of the crypto you actually own. Y'all know I ain't going to argue with that. And again, one of the loyal ones, listen, there's a lot of great ones out there. There's a lot of great ones. But if someone said, Alpha, who's your favorite? Well, let's watch.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine. Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
MyPillow's second annual mega sale is finally here. Get our patented premium MyPillows that adjust to your exact individual needs to give you the best sleep of your life.
When I got MyPillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
Now for the lowest price ever. Kings, $19.98. Queens, only $18.98. And Giza Dream bed sheets, the best sheets in history, for as low as $29.98. Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets, towels that actually dry you. What a concept! Now only $39.98. And our made in the USA mattresses and mattress toppers as low as $99.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But that's not all. Order right now and we'll ship your order absolutely free.
Absolutely free. MyPillow.com, promo code Alpha. And of course, you saw Pet Club on there. So many other great sponsors, partners, and affiliates down in the link below. I just want to, Dom Den, that's such a cool comment that you put. And what Dom Den over there on Rumble says, Alpha, you have the Holy Spirit in you and your discernment is amazing. You are chosen. And I just want to say thank you. But also remember that I'm human and I'm a man. I'm not without error. I'm definitely not without sin, but I do try to do my best. But just know that part of the reason, a large part of the reason that I'm able to do what I do, obviously, all power and glory and thanks to our creator. But also I do have a strong family and lady behind me that, there's a lot of time that I invest into this. And it'd be very hard if I didn't have that support structure behind me. So just understand that you might see my face, you might hear my voice, but there's a lot of people that make this happen. And I also want to say, you guys, the audience, there's thousands, tens of thousands of podcasts that you could be watching right now. And we're all here together as the Alpha Warrior family. And I feel the same way about you guys. So enough being soft, right? This is AlphaWarrior Show. Conversation with just Alpha. Let's get into this day 3 of the Charlie Kirk trial. We'll go through the clips that I have here for you, and then I'll go through my notes just to make sure there's anything we kind of want to expand upon. Who knows? I might change it up as we go. Let me make this bigger because some of you are watching on your phone. And here's one thing I'll say. Right? Listen, y'all are great, but you're also demanding mofos, man. I'll get some emails from you guys like, Alpha, why don't you do a Q&A once a week like Josh does? I'm like whoosh, whoosh. I'm like, Jesus, you guys. But enough of you requested it that yes, I will be doing a Q&A once a week. Hopefully I can get that started next week. We'll probably be doing it either Zoom or we'll be doing it in the StreamYard conference setup that they have. Josh does Wednesday nights. I don't want to interfere with what he does. So more than likely it'll probably be Thursday night after overwatching the Guardian or something like that. I don't know. But yes, or maybe we'll do it during the daytime. It'd be nice to do something in the daytime. I can go to sleep like a normal human being. But yes, I've heard your guys' demand. So yes, we will do a subscriber Q&A. The ones that I've done with you guys over there on Josh are so much fun. So yes, we'll do it. It's an ask me anything, right? You can ask me about my career. You can ask me about the military. You can ask me about current events. You can run your thoughts and assessments through me, and we'll all get to talk. It's just like we're all hanging out at a bonfire, right? So yes, the Alpha Q&A will be coming soon, and the families on the other side watching this podcast, like, no, you didn't just promise to do more things. Y'all better take care of me because I'm probably gonna be in trouble later. But let's get into this. Charlie Kirk's mom, dad show up. We showed you on day one, Erica Kirk showing up, and mom and dad show up that day too. But this is, let me rewind this right here just so you guys can see it. I mean, it's I can't imagine what it's like to be his parents. Just I'm a dad, and you're never supposed to outlive your kids. They're supposed to outlive you. And to be in that room again, you guys heard what I shared, I think yesterday, the day before, across from the killer, the person that meant something to you. That's a tough gig, man. But these people are strong, and they're there along with his wife. And just to squash those rumors out there, Erica Kirk's not even sitting with his family. Yes, they are. And there's videos out there to support that as they've gone out to breaks. I mean, it's the level of desperation in the black pillars and doomers and anti everything good in America are just losing their mind. And we're going to cover that before we get into the coup d'etat stuff tonight. Next, we get Jay puts out new video evidence shows Tyler Robinson turning himself into the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Robinson is wearing the same shirt from the morning of September 10th when he scoped out the UVU campus. Another Candace narrative debunked with real evidence. We were told he never turned himself in, and we told you guys that those people were crazy. And here's a nice little side-by-side, thanks to Gina Milan, to put out there. Wait, I thought you were all certain Tyler Robinson was at Dairy Queen on 9/10 wearing jeans, a maroon shirt, and white shoes. So why is it the Washington County holding room from 9/11 showing a man in the exact same outfit, suddenly not Tyler? The coping is unreal. It has been unreal. What else do we got here? Bren puts out Tyler's mom. Tyler did it. Tyler's dad. Tyler did it. Tyler's boyfriend, right? The furry. Tyler did it. All of law enforcement. Tyler did it. All the evidence. Tyler did it. Candace. It was Erica. Planet Earth. Prove it, Candace. Fans of Candace. Help. They're genociding Candace. It is crazy. Crazy what's been going on. And of course, we're going to have evidence for this stuff. I went and picked some of the highlight clips. Let me tell you, I was happy, okay, because the trial didn't start till noon Pacific time, my time, right? And so I was like, oh, all right, I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn to watch the trial today. I could sleep in just a little bit, right? And when it finally got started, it was, and we're going to get into it because it's very important. One of the things that went down in the trial today, it was insane. When we get to something, if you had any reservation that Tyler Robinson did it, today definitely pop the flare with a big old, sky banner that says Tyler Robinson is the one who assassinated Charlie Kirk. How do we know that? Because the defense team panicked and they said some things very specific. And again, I'll recap that as we get there. But here we got, again, from Bren, this one comes from Liz Wheeler. Very important timeline. Tyler Robinson turned himself in to the Washington County Police at 9 p.m. Mountain Time. Tyler Robinson confessed to his Discord chat at 7:57 p.m. local time that he killed Charlie Kirk. A bunch of idiots and morons on social media, they're out there saying, how could he do it at the time? Because these people are morons. And for those of you that continue to go into their virtual town halls to listen to them, guilt by association, I'm going to say it. You're going to be mad at me. You might leave, but you're morons too. Sorry. Someone's got to tell you, right? Tough love. Tyler Robinson confessed to his Discord chat at 7:57 p.m. local time that he killed Charlie Kirk. That's a full hour prior to turning himself in that Tyler Robinson confessed to his Discord chat. We're going to get into that later on in the show. Tyler Robinson was then formally arrested hours after he turned himself in, as late as right around 4 a.m. local time, according to the agent. Another lunatic conspiracy bites the dust thanks to actual concrete evidence. And let's go with our first clip of the day.
I want to direct your attention to September 11th, 2025. What happened on that day in relation to your investigation?
We received information that an individual was turning himself in, or was going to turn himself in to police in regard to his involvement with the incident, the shooting on UVU campus.
Were you aware, or did you become aware what time that individual arrived at Washington County Sheriff's Office?
I was told he arrived there about 9 p.m. He'd come there with his parents and a family friend.
Did you speak with this individual that we've been talking about?
Yes, I did.
Do you get his name?
Tyler Robinson.
Was Mr. Robinson detained at that time?
Yes, he was.
Was he formally arrested at that time?
Yeah, after all the interviews were completed, when we talked to everybody, he was formally arrested at that time.
What date did that happen on?
Would have been September 12th. It was about 4 a.m., I believe.
You're hearing it right there. Now, remember, if they're lying, the defense can absolutely object to this, even in a prelim, to disprove it. Tyler Robinson, if he knows the guy's lying, I didn't tell him my name, I wasn't there, because you see this in actual court cases, because I've actually been in them, where the defendant, or even sometimes on the prosecution side, I've been the case agent, where I'll lean over to the DA and be like, hey, this is inaccurate, here it is, or you'll see us pass a note, there's communications. Silence from the defense side. Why? Because Tyler Robinson turned himself in. Because Tyler Robinson was actually at the Washington County Sheriff's Office. Have we had a government? I'm not going to go too much on a tangent, but it's important to address. I want to address it earlier in the show. Have we had decades upon decades, if not more than a century, of governments and the intelligence apparatus and the media lying to us? Yes. Does the media still lie to us now? Yes. Does that include the alt media world that I'm a part of? Yes. They lie too. Social media, they lie too. Influencers, they lie too. What you guys are watching right now is a courtroom where officers of the government, whether it's the agents or the DA or whoever it is, swear an oath to tell the truth, right? And take the stand. If they lie, perjury. If they are lying along with a group of other people to push a narrative, not just perjury, but we start to move into the realm of conspiracy. Like there's legal consequences to this. The realest place that this can happen is the courtroom. And I'm telling you, everybody that's telling you that, the court case you're watching is fake and gay, they're retarded. Even if they're my friends, they're retarded. Because I've spent over 14 years of my life in a courtroom. And for those that don't know, state of California, to this day, I'm still considered an expert witness. I've been a case agent. I've helped pick juries. Like I know this process, at least from the officer side of things. And I see our Broadway says they lie too. I think you're informed, probably referencing the people in the courtroom. They do. Witnesses do lie. That's why you have the apparatus set up there so they can get confronted on the lie. That's why you have cross-examination, and that's why you have redirect. So if people are lying, or sometimes maybe it's not a lie, maybe it's a misunderstanding, maybe it's confusion, you have the opportunity to correct the record. You'll hear that word. If you've been watching the trial, you've seen how much, for the benefit of the record, right? I'm happy that people are getting to see how this looks. As frustrating as it was to watch today, that's also the way it is in real life, folks. There is a lot of waiting. There's a lot of arguing over things, especially on the officer side. We're like, this is so stupid. But this is the process. What you're watching here on TV is real. And shout out to the judge, Graff, right? Backwards frag. I thought that was interesting. This judge, the way he's handled it up to day 3, impeccable. I have absolute respect, and I am very, very impressed with this judge. Even with who was the DA today? Hunt, Miss Hunt. You know, you could tell in her kind of opening, you could hear the kind of the cracking in her voice. She was nervous. They know millions of people are watching this, and to see these people, you know, go through this process and do it with professionalism, and even to the credit of the defense attorney, he's doing a good job as a defense attorney. We hate it, all the objections, but that is his job as a defense attorney. But the point I'm just trying to make is this is very real, what you're watching here. And the evidence supports what we're seeing so far. Again, it is a prelim, it's not a trial, and the threshold of what needs to be proven and hearsay is allowed and such. And you guys can go back and watch day one. I'm not going to rehash what a prelim is, but I just want to make sure that we're there. This is kind of important. All right, let's get to the next one, and then we can get into the nuance of today. Cinema Shogun puts, holy shit, Tyler Robinson turned in by his parents. It was just confirmed that Tyler Robinson was turned in by his parents and a family friend around 9 p.m. on September the 11th. I know this isn't breaking news to normal people, but Candace Owens and her cult have been lying about when Tyler Robinson turned himself in for months. They also deny that Tyler's parents wanted to turn him in or think that he's guilty. This destroys a few more of the fake conspiracies. And I have this clip for you guys. It's a little overlapping with some of the one from the last one, but again, there's more that's covered here, so I want to play it.
The reason you went down there was you had been told that an individual wanted to turn themselves in.
That's correct.
Did you observe that individual?
I did.
And where was that person at the time?
So when we arrived, we went into the room that we were in. It was one of their office, the cubicles there. On the wall, there was a television monitor where I viewed an individual on that screen that was sitting in one of the soft interview rooms. That room was equipped with audio video recording device, and so I observed him on that screen at that time.
Were you aware, or did you become aware what time that individual arrived at Washington County Sheriff's Office?
I was told he arrived there about 9 p.m. that evening.
And was he with anybody else?
He'd come there with his parents and a family friend.
Did you speak with this individual that we've been talking about?
Yes, I did.
Did you get his name?
Yes, we obtained his name and date of birth.
What was his name?
Tyler Robinson.
Did he tell you that himself?
He did.
You mentioned other individuals came there with him. And then you also said that you had kind of coordinated with the team of law enforcement officers that were there. Were those other individuals spoken with by law enforcement?
They were.
Let's go through them. How did that happen? Who was spoken to first of the other individuals?
So Tyler's mother was interviewed by SBI agent Holgreen and FBI agent Cox. And then kind of simultaneously, his father was being interviewed.
And then we end up having him correct the record. Actually, she has him correct the record shortly thereafter, because he actually was part of interviewing the mom. He goes, actually, let me correct myself as well. So Tyler's mom and dad were also interviewed by the FBI. You guys are listening right there to Agent Davis. He's also from the SBI, the Utah State Bureau of Investigation. Tyler's dad was interviewed by FBI Holgreen and FBI agent Cox. Mike Mitchell, which is the scout leader, the law enforcement friend, he was initially interviewed as well by SBSI agent Terry and FBI agent Smith. And I think those were the main ones we covered there. But we learned about multiple interviews, because we'll get into it a little bit. Actually, we're going to be coming up to it here pretty soon with Lance Twiggs, the furry boyfriend, right? In his interview. Because again, if you remember, actually, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm just going to let the clips speak for themselves. I get fired up. But here's what we're hearing here. His parents were there. His parents were interviewed. The friend of the family was interviewed that day, and then he was interviewed, I think it was April or May. I have it written down in my notes. And then again, his boyfriend was interviewed. All these lies. So the thing I want you guys to ask yourself is why the lies? It's one thing if people have, well, this is my opinion. This is what I think. Everybody's entitled to that. But when you say you have sources and when you say you have evidence and you know, and now we're seeing a public trial with the defendant present and zero objections, then you as the audience got to say, why are these people lying and why have they been pushing this narrative? What is their motive? So let's keep going. Gunther puts out bombshell that this was huge, folks. The defense for Tyler Robinson just revealed that there is a 22-page document that they want to redact. This is the thing that just took hours today. This is almost definitely the Twigs recording. It is. We have provided the state. This is a quote. We have provided the state, I want to say about a day and a half ago, with proposed redactions because we believe that portions of it are not admissible even in a preliminary hearing. And the way we did that is we provided a transcript and then redacted the version of the transcript of the entire video recorded interview. So let me just explain this because this was so confusing and they went back and forth through the entire day to explain this. There's this long ass video, right? The transcription of this video is 22 pages. And in this video, there is an agent that is interviewing Lance Twigs. And as we learned as the day developed, and like I said, we're going to get into this, so I might be stepping into another video clip here, but that's okay. As we go into this, we start learning that the text messages that we all seen that just, that were part of the charging documents at the beginning of this, a lot of people said, here it is, here it is. And I wasn't the only one. There were others said, I'm telling you folks, there's more text messages. They're just showing enough for the charging documents to show that there's probable cause for the arrest. We do the minimum because you're not trying to put your whole case into that. You're just doing the minimum to meet the threshold of probable cause so that a judge keeps this guy in jail. The guy doesn't get kicked loose for a judge saying, hey, you don't got probable cause. You don't meet the elements of the crimes that you're charging, right? You got to make sure all those things are met. And what we learned today is, yes, we did not get all the text messages, right? Point again for the AlphaWarrior family over here. Let's keep going. It may be that the court wants to look at the proposed redactions not while the court is in session, but during some other period of time because the transcript of the video, of which we prepared and we provided the state so that the state could raise any concerns about the accuracy of the transcript. That's not an issue. The admissibility of portions of the video or the issue is about the 20 pages, maybe 22 pages. And I'm going to play this clip for you guys so you can hear it. It's not too long. But the issue that the state had during this argument was this is just a written transcript or a police report or a document where we're just going to go and redact stuff. They're saying that this is a video that we want to not only have admitted to the court, but we want it published to the courtroom. And we also want it published to the media for the public. And since it's a video, it's not like it's a simple, you just go and you put black squares because there's audio to this. So essentially what the state was arguing during the trial today is they gave this to us Monday night at 4 p.m. And that is not enough time to address this when they had it. So they go back and forth. The judge kind of makes a ruling that wasn't really looking too in favor of the defense. The defense kind of delivered his argument again. In all fairness, and I know we hate this, but in all fairness, it was a solid argument that defense was making because, again, this is a prelim. And the part what they're saying is when you keep delivering the same evidence over and over, it's redundant in that matter. And, it starts to become influential to where can it violate the 14th Amendment of the client? And technically, can it influence, the public who's going to be the jury pool? It is a solid argument. But again, hopefully I went back. So they don't want me talking. Let me get a 5x5 from everybody because my internet just completely tripped out right now. And it looks like I'm back. But I just want to see some 5x5s before I continue to see. And I hope I get some 5x5s in you guys in the chat. So they were okay. So YouTube's up and running. So we're good on YouTube side. All right, Rumble. Tell me you're still with me, Rumble. Okay, good. Alan says I'm back. Man, panic there, folks. Panic. But again, the point being is it's that was not an absurd argument, or it's the way I see it from my experience. This is something that I would expect from a defense attorney, and ultimately, what the judge ends up doing, and I'll save that as we get a little bit further, and I'll give you the exact timestamps because they do matter. Because the judge first said, we're going to play it all, but we're only going to redact this part. Then the defense raised an objection again, pretty much the same argument that I just articulated to you guys, but he presented a little bit more emphasis to it. And then he won the judge over, and the judge ultimately said, okay, so we're actually going to redact all this stuff. Now, for clarification, the judge on all the exhibits, this is very important because not a lot of people are talking about this, and it can be confusing if you're just seeing clips. In every exhibit that they're admitting, whether it's the state or whether it's the defense, the judge he's ruling on that on three parts. It being admissible to court, right? That's the first one. Am I going to admit this evidence into the court, right? So this is what the judge is going to see, and everybody else that's part of the process. That's the first one. The second part that he rules on with these exhibits is, once I admit it to the court, are we going to show it in the courtroom so that all those present in the courtroom see it, including the media, but not the public? And this is why the camera has been, for those of you wondering, like, why aren't they moving around? The camera's very stationed because off to the left side of the screen is the big monitor, and that's where they've been putting up the evidence during the trial. And so they want to make sure that if it's not something that's supposed to be for the public, then the camera can kind of zoom in on the judge and make sure that we don't see it or hear it. So first, he rules on whether it's admissible to court. Second, he rules whether it's going to be published to the courtroom. And then the third and final ruling is it going to be published to the media for all of us to see? And so this is what's been very time consuming in this trial. And this particular one literally took a few hours, it seemed like, to address. But why is this important? Why am I spending so much time explaining this? Because it at least creates the educated assumption. I don't want to just say an assumption. It creates the educated assumption that the gravity of what the defense does not want us, the people, to see or hear in that video, that 22-page transcript that runs with the video. They feel it is going to be so damning that they don't want us to see it. And you're gonna learn why here in a few moments from the defense's words on what's in there. So let's keep going. Suzanne, Snoop's mom, 123. That's funny. Snoop's mom puts this out. Text, by the way, and these are the texts that got released during the charging documents, and these alone were very incriminating. Let me just play the Fox News one so you guys can see it. I won't be redundant about it.
Why? Robinson replied, "Why did I do it?" Twigg said, "Yeah." Robinson explained, "I had enough of his hatred. Some hate cannot be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence." And we have
if I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Folks, let me just break this down for you. I've been part of a lot of prelims, right? And I don't want to say prelims aren't important. They are. They're part of the judicial process. But and if there's any attorneys or prior DAs or even defense attorneys in here, you guys will acknowledge I'm about to say the quiet part out loud because I'm no longer in that industry. Prelims are not that important to us. It's a step that we use in order to leverage a plea. That's what it is. The defense will try to weaponize it. The prosecution will try to weaponize it. But ultimately what matters is the trial. The prelim is just, again, and I addressed this all on Monday's show, so you can go watch that if you really want the detailed breakdown of a prelim. But just to recap real quick, just in case this is the first time you're seeing my show or an assessment of the trial, a prelim is just the state bringing the case before a judge and a judge reviewing it to see that the case meets the minimum threshold that probable cause exists to charge the defendant with the crimes that are being charged to move forward into a trial. So that's why there's hearsay allowed. That's why one cop can testify to another cop's police report. These are things that would not happen in a jury trial. You wouldn't. You would have to bring up every officer that wrote that supplemental report. You'd have to bring up the officer that, unless the defense wants to stipulate to things, but even then, it's treated very different. And we'll save that for if it does go to trial. But for prelims, it's a very low threshold. That said, is the court opened this one to the public. And for those of you that have watched the media, the public, we even have a lawyer there to represent us to tell the judge, hey, no, we have a lawful right, and makes an argument for us, the people, to see this, which is very cool because you don't typically see that in too many cases. So again, but the point that I was trying to make, if this was not Charlie Kirk, if this was a case of just a gang member and another guy, and I had a text message from the suspect's phone, and in that the text message of the suspect's phone, he messaged one of his homies and says, if I can get back to the scene and get the rifle, I'm clear. That in of itself, that single thing, as long as I could prove, again, that the phone belongs to him, again, that I can prove that, that the phone was with him during the time that message was received, like, again, there's the nuances of those details. But the point I'm trying to make is that conversation alone would be enough to satisfy a preliminary hearing to move forward to trial. That's how simple it is. The reason you're seeing this made out to be so complex is because it's a high profile case. But I can tell you right now, unequivocally, I would bet the house on it that this case met the threshold of prelim on day one. Right now, I think the judge is getting a taste for the cases that are going to be presented. And again, on Friday, I'll do a deeper assessment and a recap of the entire week, and I'll tell you guys where I think this is going, so I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself. Actually, I'll leave that part for Friday. I'm not even going to divert from here. I'll stick to day 3 right now. So again, we have this text message from Charlie Kirk. Now, you would argue that this is damning, and I would agree with you. But there's something so far worse within the body of this text message, or Lance Twiggs, the furry boyfriend, his commentary or his response to this text message, that the defense does not want you and me to hear it during the prelim. That's the point I'm trying to make here. All right, let's keep going. The post-millennial puts text messages between Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs were not previously released in their entirety. So this is kind of the part that I said. But again, just so you guys can hear the way this played out in court, let me play this clip for you.
It actually prompts, in order for me to get to that, I do want to ask the state, are you intending to introduce the text messages as an exhibit in this proceeding, the preliminary hearing?
Yes, Judge, we will be attempting to and moving for the admission of the text thread, the Discord thread, and I think, and the note that is referenced in Mr. Twiggs 1102.
All right, and let me take one step at a time, just for clarity. And again, Mr. Novak, I really do appreciate you being so precise. It's helping me parse it out so we can address it, because it's important, and I recognize that you're advocating for your client, and so I want to give it its due time. The text messages, from my understanding, and either side weigh in, my understanding that those were released to the public months ago in their entirety.
Judge, if I may, they were not released in their entirety. Portions of them were placed into the charging document, the information that supported, in part, the charges that the state has filed. We did not put the entirety of them in. And now we wish to publish more of them than were included in the charging document.
I see.
So again, the official video of what I was kind of outlining there. Let's move on to the next one. This brings us to a Candace Owens segment. Got to plug these in. Erica California 47 puts Candace Owens last week. This was on the Sean Ryan show. Lance Twiggs was never questioned. Erica puts wrong. He was twice. Another lie debunk. Take a listen to this. It's only a few seconds.
Lance Twiggs, the person.
Why do you think that?
Because the police didn't even question him, which is bonkers. Yeah, Lance Twiggs.
So again, there's some of you guys some of you simp for Candace, and there's her saying he was never interviewed. All right, let's move on and take a listen to this now.
Where was that?
Happened at the Utah County Attorney's Office.
Who was present at that second interview?
It was Mr. Twiggs with his attorney, Jill Cottrell. It was Lauren Hunt, Sam Peed with the U.S. Attorney's Office, Ryan McBride, Sergeant L. Schulz, well, now it's Lieutenant L. Schulz, and myself.
We've talked about 2 interviews of Mr. Twiggs, one on the morning of September 12th, 2025, second on April 20th, 2026. Are you aware if both of those interviews were recorded?
They were.
Have you reviewed those recordings?
I have.
Before Mr. Twiggs' interview on April 20th, 2026, well, first let me ask you this. Are you aware of what use immunity means?
Yes.
What does it mean?
It's a letter that the use of immunity is essentially giving the individual, during the limited time of their statement, they're given that immunity from statements that are made in regard to an incident. But it does not preclude them from prosecution, from evidence that would be known or found then or later outside of that interview. It just gives them that limited immunity during the type of the interview.
Okay, so for any statements made during the interview, they're given immunity for that, but they're not generally prohibited from being potentially prosecuted outside of that interview. Is that fair?
That's my understanding, yes.
Was Mr. Twiggs given use immunity?
Yes, he was.
By what offices?
The Utah County Attorney's Office, as well as the United States Attorney's Office.
You mentioned that both of Mr. Twiggs' interviews were recorded. Have you reviewed those recordings?
Yes, I have.
Do they fairly and accurately depict those interviews?
Yes, they do.
We've talked about 1102.
So again, Candace Owens, Sean Ryan, Lance Twiggs was never interviewed. We learn here from Agent Davis from the FBI that Lance Twiggs indeed was interviewed on September the 12th at the St. George Police Department, and then again interviewed later on April the 20th at the Utah County Attorney's Office. So he was actually interviewed twice. I wanted to address Anon 1028 because a lot of people I've seen over the last couple of months put this. So again, Anon, this is not a shot at you. I actually appreciate you bringing this up so I can address it. Anon 1028 says from Rumble, the text messages look fake. And then Anon 1028 puts, and Utah has a lot of corrupt cops and judges, especially in Utah County. So let me address both of these. You can have the opinion that they look fake. Absolutely you can. But guess what? The defense is not arguing that. If for those that are not familiar, you know, when we would enter into a gang case and we had a social media page that was pulled or a comment from social media page, you would have the defense attorney come out and say, that's not my client's. You know, Snoopy Dogg 123 is not him. You got to prove that it's him, right? Or they would say, you know, that's my client's Facebook page, but other people have access to it. You got to prove that he's the one that posted that. Like, the defense makes arguments when it's not real or when it wasn't done by them. The defense will argue that. The defense has not made that argument here. Not once. And I'm going to get to the argument they did make. So just understand, the text messages are real, folks. Because if they were fake, the defense would be arguing that. Again, remember, this is the Tyler Robinson could potentially face the death penalty. The defense is going to argue every angle they can. And they've proven that because they've done their diligence. Listen, I am not pro Tyler Robinson. I want to see this dude get the ultimate consequence that he can face, but he is entitled to a fair trial, and he's entitled to have representation in that fair trial. Doesn't matter how much we despise this demon. That's where our country's built, and that needs to be honored. And what I can tell you up to this point, I wish I would have saw who posted it so I can give them credit. But the defense attorney is doing the team, because it's not just Novak. You also have, I can't think of the lady's name offhand, but the defense team has been doing a good job. They've been very thorough on this. And when they've lost something, they've gone right back to the judge. And, today there was a little, even the judge says, just to make sure there's, things are amicable. And the defense attorney's like, yeah, like it was a professional fight. For those that are not familiar or don't watch the court process a lot, it was a fight that was going there. You just didn't look like a fight because it's two gentlemen being gentlemen, but that interaction was a fight. But it's been, and then, like I said, the credit I want to give somebody in the audience, they said that Judge Graff is doing this case to make sure that there is nothing that could be weaponized later to deem a mistrial or prosecutorial misconduct or anything of that such. This case, folks, I'm telling you, this case on the process side, there's on the actual investigation side, that's a different matter. But on the actual courtroom process, this is as close to perfect as I've ever seen in a case. Now, to the other comment that you brought up, Anon 1028, that there are corrupt cops and judges in Utah. I imagine there is. There is in every single state. There's another thing that happens in a court case is when you have a police officer or a detective or an agent, and they have something in their personnel file, their jacket. Maybe it's something that's a Brady issue. The defense can argue this is something that would happen, prior to the prelim or, after the prelim prior to the trial, where they'll go and they'll do a closed hearing and they'll address this stuff. Because if it's a police officer whose credibility is in question, then this is something that can either be presented in court or even probably lead the DA to be like, we're probably not going to use this officer. So there's that. The other thing is, if the officer is lying about something during cross-examination, the defense has the opportunity to expose them and confront them and impeach them. Like, you can do that in a prelim as well. And that has yet to happen in this trial, in the preliminary trial. So hold on, I just got to fix something real quick on Rumble. This doesn't happen here. I can see what you guys are seeing, so it's not doing the tripping, but it is on my side. Sometimes those ad things populate multiple times, and then I can't see your guys' chat anymore. So give me 1 second. This is the fun stuff of live, right? And if you guys do send a Rumble rant tonight or super chat, I will be reading those at the end of the show tonight. So you guys want to show this show some love and send some Rumble rants, definitely appreciate that, but no obligation. But maybe I'll put you guys go on Alpha's good list. All right, so we got that working. We're back up. All right, so let's keep going. And hopefully, Anon, I provide you some clarity to this trial specifically, to at least, give you some confidence in what we're seeing and what I'm reporting in the assessment that I'm giving you guys. MJ Truth Ultra puts, the mysterious bullet that was recovered after Charlie Kirk was assassinated was found on top of the computer science building, and it was a .223 caliber round. He said his agents verified this bullet, where it was found, had no line of sight either where Charlie Kirk was. .223 caliber police officers use in most of their rifles, AR-15s. That was a testimony yesterday that the officer cleared and charged his rifle in the location. I'm going to play this clip for you. Again, I'm just going to tell you guys who told you guys yesterday. Who told you guys during day 2 of the trial when my boy CanCon and everybody else is flipping out? Oh my God, there was a bullet on another roof. Let's just recap what I said yesterday. If the defense is bringing up that there's a bullet, do you think Novak or the lady were up there on the roofs doing that? No, they weren't. The fact that they know there was a bullet on the roof told me one thing instantly, and I shared it on yesterday's show. that it was documented in a police report. So everybody that was freaking out that this was a cover up, if it was a cover up, why would they document the damn thing in a police report? Makes no sense. What was the other part that I said? When you look at the position of where Tyler Robinson was, and this goes back to the assessment that me and Josh did on DEF CON on September the 16th of 2025, we showed there was only so many places that the shooter could be to take that shot. Again, you have Charlie Kirk that was down in an amphitheater, so he wasn't at the ground level. He was below ground level because it's an amphitheater. On top of that, not only do you have the fact that he's in a bowl, but you had the tree line that was off to Charlie Kirk's left, and then you had the building that was fairly close to them that was off to his right. And so if you're and then he had the tent that was above him, and obviously we see the impact to his left side. So there's just the physics kind of told you there's only so many places that shot could be taken from. And I said, what you guys are going to see is that round is going to be something that's on a building where there's not even a line of sight or trajectory to Charlie Kirk. And what did we find out today? We found out this. So let me just hit play. Tell me, I have this one for you guys. Hold on. You guys are going to hear this one. Hold on. Well, there it is. Here we go.
The preliminary hearing, is that right?
Yes.
We heard testimony yesterday about turning to the scene at UVU on September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building, on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
How do you know that it was found there?
I reviewed the agent's report that found that, documented it, and collected it.
What agent was that?
It was Agent Ben Schneider with SBI.
Are you aware of where the computer science building is on campus?
Yes.
Can you explain generally where that is located?
Yeah, from where the LOSI building is, it's a building directly kind of south and east of there, from the LOSI.
Southeast from the LOSI building. Where is it in connection to the auditorium section that we've been talking about where Mr. Kirk was stationed?
It's east of there. East and a little bit south, and mostly east.
Would there have been, from that roof of the computer science building, to your knowledge, would there have been a line of sight to Mr. Kirk's tent?
No, not according to the agent. Agent Ben Schneider, there was not a line of sight from there to where the tent was, where Mr. Kirk was.
Did you learn from Agent Snyder what caliber that bullet was?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was a .223 caliber.
What is a live round?
It's a round that had not been fired, so it still had the projectile and as a fully functional bullet with ammunition with the bullet.
Did you learn if this .223 bullet found on top of the computer science building was a live round?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
It was still intact. Still had the primer had not been it was not dented, not been fired. It still had the bullet projectile in the end and still sealed.
Did you observe this bullet personally, or is this information you're getting from Agent Snyder?
From Agent Ben Schneider.
All right, turning to a different topic.
All right. So you guys are killing me in the chat, but I'm going to address it because you guys aren't the only ones that have this opinion. So the first one that I'm going to address, if I can find it, here we go. The greatest love story ever on Rumble says, why would the defense expose an officer's credibility in a prelim? Doesn't seem strategic. Completely opposite. So in a preliminary hearing, the prosecution is going to do the minimum or just above the minimum to present their case because they don't want the defense to know every angle they're going to take. Because remember, the prosecution is planning to go to trial. The defense, especially in this situation where they didn't waive prelim, the defense is going to max out in the preliminary hearing because they don't want this to go to trial. So why would you expose an officer's credibility in the prelim? Is because in that case, let's just say it's Officer Hall from yesterday, or if it's Officer Davis, Agent Davis from today, why would you expose them? Because if you can impeach that officer in the testimony, the judge is then going to strike that from things that he weighs. And if that officer's testimony is critical to the establishment of the probable cause, now you don't have it. And if you don't have the probable cause, you don't proceed to trial. So you absolutely would attack the officer's credibility in this case. And that's why if there's officers that are in the chat, most of the times, I think California is like a 19B motion. Most of the time you get these motions to get into where they want to look into your file to find something is usually going to happen before prelim. Again, sometimes you will have it where it's before trial, but no. So to answer or to respond to your statement, the greatest love story ever, that's why the defense absolutely would go to expose an officer. Now to Mike Irons, I hope you're being sarcastic and you don't really believe this, Mike, but if you do, love you anyways. Mike says, it was a professional funded by Israel. You'll never convince me otherwise, like the Ukrainian assassins sent for Trump. They all suck. So here's what I'll say. It was not a professional that killed Charlie Kirk. Why? Because professionals don't miss. I've worked with these guys, folks. All right? A professional sniper doesn't miss. But they didn't miss. Alpha, they hit him in the neck, right? Assuming that you don't subscribe to my theory that he does have a front plate carrier, and you guys know the point that I made, right? That means that if you're subscribing to the idea that it was a direct shot to the neck, that's a miss. Because no professional assassin's going to aim for the neck. Ever. Because if you're going to get one shot, you want to make sure that that shot is going to be fatal. Not highly probable, not likely, not, well, if I'll go for the second. No, in that environment, because with that many people are going to run, people might get in the way of a second shot that you may have to perform. So again, a professional is going to aim for the head and they're not going to miss. So right out of the gate, I knew day one that this was not a professional hit because it's a miss, right? And in the scope of a sniper. And if there's any veteran snipers in the chat, feel free to chime in with me because you guys are professionals. My car says they all suck. They don't. It's one of two things, right? We can't say that Mossad is this elite unit or whatever intelligence apparatus. We can't in one breath say that it's this elite unit that controls the world and takes all these people out, and then the next breath say, but they suck and they miss when it comes to shooting. Like it's either or, right? And again, if it was a professional organization, none of this would have went down the way it went. This was a murder, an assassination, and that's why the things have developed the way it is. Now, again, I always add a little asterisk, right? And you guys know my ideology when it comes to this guy is, what I would believe someone who was subjected to MK Ultra through the evolution of it, not thinking back in time. So again, I covered that yesterday, not going to rehash that again today. But enough people have that I wanted to make note of it now. So let's keep moving on. Blake Neff puts out, Ben Shapiro hated Charlie. Everyone knew that. What did he spend 10 months relentlessly harassing Charlie's wife and friends? So what this whole thing is obviously, you see Candace puts this post out, and it's a video clip from Ben. I think I have it. It's only a few seconds. Yeah, I do have it. So Ben Shapiro does this post. Let me just play the video so it makes sense. So you guys understand what I'm saying.
So I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody. And I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. At 2:40 p.m.
So again, and I'll explain what I suspect is happening here, but let's just read what Candace put. Candace goes and she puts, breaking news, Ben Shapiro just confessed on his show that while Charlie was being transported to the hospital and bleeding out to death, his security was on the phone with Charlie's security receiving updates. I knew it. Someone explained to me why during the minutes while Charlie was dying in the backseat of the car, Charlie's security team was providing updates to Ben Shapiro's team rather than focusing entirely on saving Charlie's life and finding the killer. Will remind you all that Brian Harpole, one of the security members who was in that car en route to the hospital, is currently suing me and is using Ben Shapiro's lawyer, who has sued me relentlessly on Ben's behalf for the last 3 years. Ben Shapiro hated Charlie. Everyone knew that. So why the hell was this demon receiving updates in the mere minutes after Charlie was hit en route to the hospital? Who's on Charlie's security team betrayed him in this way? Everything Ben did following the assassination made my alarm bells go off. I have told you guys that there is something about the Daily Wire and the relentlessly stalking of me following my firing that has made me feel altogether unsafe. I have felt their obsessive focus, this is crazy to read, on destroying me is deranged and increasingly dangerous. What did Andrew Colvett mean when he told me it was supposed to be you? Why did Turning Point betray Charlie so quickly by allowing Ben to open up at Amfest after declaring immediately that he would pick up Charlie's blood, Mike? Why did, and again, so here's the breakdown I'm going to give you guys. And again, this part is going to be, this is an opinion. This is Alpha's opinion, right? But again, I am a combat veteran. I have been in firefights. All right. And I also have been in officer involved shootings, and I've also been on a tactical team. And this is what I've done for 2/3 of my life. And so these security guys, because I've done these type of security details as well, they're different people. And if we have any contractors in the audience, you guys feel free to chime in on this one. We're different, right? Veterans are different. Combat veterans are different. Contractors are different. We operate differently. So can you be in a vehicle with someone you love and care about dying and bleeding out and still be a professional to address other things that are happening? Yes. It's why we get paid the money we get paid. It's why we can do the job that 99% of the rest, 99.8% of the rest of the world can't do. It's what separates us. It's the whole reason we call ourselves operators or professionals or contractors. So there's one thing on how could that happen. 2, Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk can absolutely not like each other. But the security teams are still part of a community, the same community I just described. And they still communicate amongst each other. And if your boss, if your VIP just got taken out and you haven't, and it's fresh and you haven't had time to address the motive or what's going on, and your friends on another security detail are getting word that your guy just got taken out on a hit or maybe we don't know it's a hit yet, but just got shot. Yes, they're going to be hitting you up to say, what happened? Because guess what? Is there a target on all the high profile speakers? Is there a target on Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk? And this was the first one. That's professionalism. I would expect that communication. I would expect these other teams to start calling in and being like, hey, is this an isolated, or do you guys have reason to believe that we got to up security on our guys? Like, that conversation's all going to happen. And these guys have the ability to do that because, again, they're fucking professionals. But this is the rhetoric. This is the crazy bullshit that comes out of Candace's mouth that then gets into the ears and into the lack of a bolt housing group in the brains of the people that simp for her, that then take this to social media and say, oh, when it's completely logical to understand it the way I do, because I actually have this working knowledge of these kind of guys, which she doesn't. So and then again, you have Blake Neff that puts, yeah, we didn't know it. But the fact that she says, the part that just blows my mind is she's like, they're obsessing over me. Like, you just want to ignore what you've done to TPUSA and Charlie Kirk's friends, his wife and his family for the last, year. Like, shit's just crazy to me to even fathom that she has that position. But let's just keep going. Jack Sobit puts out, this is how long it took Tyler Robinson to assemble the rifle on top of the roof building. I thought this clip was very important. I wanted to share it with you guys. It's not too long. Let me bring this up because I'm going to play it. Let me kill the audio because I didn't put the audio for this one, the video for this one. Yeah, okay. Let me rewind this one. Let me go full screen with it for you guys. So if you guys saw yesterday's show, we showed the video of Tyler Robinson, or who's alleged to believe Tyler Robinson, going over the railing, running across the roof of the low C building, gets into the side of the roof where the shooting platform is. Then he starts to low crawl. He gets into the sniper position, and then we're all just kind of watching there, right? Well, because that part is blurry. We don't got the high definition footage yet of that, but we're seeing where he's there. And then all of a sudden, right when the shot goes off, then he pops up and you see him running. Now you saw how long that he was there. This guy is going to show you, and this goes off the theory that he had the buttstock of the rifle on his right side. That's why he had that limp. And then he was holding up the barrel side on his left side. That's the video from yesterday. I'm not going to play it again. You can watch yesterday's Just Alpha 2 for day 2 of the trial to see that. But this is going to show you how quick he does it. So I'm going to play it once without any commentary, and then because it's only like 30 some seconds. And then I'll play it again with some commentary. But I just want you guys to see it one time uninterrupted. So it's going to be silent here for a minute. Here we go. So 35 seconds. Now let's rewind this, and I'm going to give you guys some commentary about what's going on here. So right here on the deck, the brown part, right? This is what we call the body of the weapon, the buttstock, right? And then up here, if you guys can see my little mouse going across the string, is where you see the barrel. And then the little shiny part right here is you see the bolt, and then you can't see it here because it's kind of dark, but you see the trigger assembly, right? So here he goes. He's going to grab the bottom of the rifle, and he just put the barrel and the buttstock. He just put them together, right? Now he's grabbing the trigger assembly. He's going to slide the trigger assembly into place. So there we go. So in 6 seconds, he has the stock, the barrel, and the trigger assembly put into place. But now he's got to get the 2 bolts, and he's got to secure that trigger assembly to the weapon. So here you're going to see him do this. There he goes. Front bolt, secure the weapon together. Rear bolt, secure the weapon together. Does it finger tight. So at 13 seconds, he got both bolts into place, and he's got them hand tightened. Now he's going to grab the screwdriver. I think he does a little bit extra time here, but even then, still under 35 seconds. Now he gets the front screwdriver. He goes, tightens it. So within 19 seconds, we got the stock, we got the barrel, the trigger assembly, and the front bolt all put together. At 27 seconds, at this point right here, he could have went straight to the bolt. At 27 seconds, he's got the stock, the barrel, the trigger assembly, and both bolts fastened into the weapon system. So from this point, at 27 seconds, he could have went straight to the bolt to slide it in, but he's wants to make sure everything's good to go. So he's going to retighten. See, yep, front one's good. Flips it over. Slide in the bolt. Boom. 35 seconds. Now, if you saw yesterday's video, he could have done this twice. It was nearly, about a minute, little over a minute, once he's already proned out into that position. So again, ample time to do this. And as you saw, not difficult at all. So for all those people out there saying it would take forever, that's not possible, it's too complicated. Stock, barrel, trigger assembly, 2 bolts, slide in the bolt, and you're in action. And he even had a chance to make sure that he was tightened there. So Ryle Drang says, Alpha, is that a Mauser 30-06 or a different manufacturer? I don't know. I would have to zoom in and do all that other stuff. But it definitely looks like the exact weapon system. But like I said, I can only see what you can see, and I don't see any branding that's obvious for me to make that call. All right, let me minimize this. Let's go to the next one. This is important, and then like I said, I'll get into the notes of what I saw today for the stuff that we didn't really cover too much here. Andrew Kovac says, statement from the family, and I'm not going to read what he said. I'm just going to play this for you guys. And again, this is for those out there saying that, oh, you know, they're trying to hide stuff. This is after this is during the time that they're making the arguments. So the judge is already kind of shown that he's going to redact a portion of the video and the 22-page transcript that's from Lance Twiggs regarding the text message conversations. And this is the family coming out, and I'll let the family's attorney come and I'll let you guys hear his statement.
All right. Counsel, if you would like to state your name.
Your Honor, Jeffrey Nyman on behalf of the Kirk family. I've been very hesitant to speak up at these proceedings. We understand it's the state, the defense, and the judge. You're all doing your job. But I feel as if we need to. I want to be clear as to what the Kirk's family's position is on all of this. The Kirk family believes strongly that if the evidence is being admitted in this preliminary hearing, it should be made public for the world to see. No redactions. This court has tools at its tools at its disposal to make sure the defendant receives a fair trial. You'll use them if you find that you need to. That's it, Your Honor. To not be transparent here, to not be open, to not let the world see what happened, will create doubt and distrust in the judicial system. And that's not what anybody wants. That's not what any of us believe should happen here. And we'd ask the court to consider the position of the family in making its ultimate decision.
Thank you.
Again, Charlie Kirk's parents and Erica Kirk calling for full transparency, show it all, which is the opposite of the defense's position. Mike Irons going after my patience today. But again, it's something that I've seen out in the social media world, so I do want to address it because I'm sure you're not the only one that shares this opinion, Mike. He says they always pave over crime scenes, seals the evidence. Let me break this down. I broke this down, not too long after all this happened. Initially, when people were like, "Oh, they're out there paving over it," folks. It is a crime scene when law enforcement is there investigating, right? If you guys remember when they said, oh, he took the camera down, he went and he took something from the crime scene, right? And I get what people mean. It's the scene of the crime, right? But no, it hadn't been police officers hadn't came yet and said, hey, no longer can you come in here. This is a crime scene. At that part, that's when the legalities of things change, right? And again, the TPUSA guy ended up turning in the camera anyways. However, once we leave, we relinquish the jurisdiction of that property to the owner. If it's a restaurant, a movie theater, the owner of the establishment, they're now in charge. In the case of the college, if it's a private school, the owners. If it's a state school, the state, right? But just to give you guys, when we would go and investigate a homicide, let's just say some gang, I'll use a real life example. Gang member shoots another gang member in the street. Gang member dies, blood and guts are all up in the street. We go out there, we do our investigations. We get our forensics comes out. Everybody does their thing. But at some point, you conclude your investigation of the crime scene. Well, a street is a public thing. We're not just going to get in our cars and drive off and leave the blood and the guts in the street, right? No, what do? We call the fire department. Come out here with your big hoses. Fire department comes out there and wash it all down to the edge, right? Sometimes the tow truck operators are out there on the fatal. You guys have probably seen this. And they'll go and throw some of that sand on there, collect it into their hazmat stuff. And then again, fire department will wash whatever's left. That's if you guys remember what was in Butler, you had the FBI up there washing the blood off the roof. That's not unnatural, folks. Again, I attribute this to a lot of a lack of understanding on how these things happen. But once you conclude the crime scene, you're done. 2, let's just entertain the theory that there was evidence that's there, right? Because again, if we're going back to when the pavement crew and the sod crew for the grass went, well, you could see what was there as they started working because they showed the pictures and video clips that people had. There's no items there. So the only logical thing that we could assume that would be there is maybe blood, right? Maybe we're thinking about blood. Well, what's the evidentiary value that you're trying to prove? Because the blood is going to have gone into the soil. If people have walked across it, there's a lot of contamination stuff that happens. But again, there's nothing of evidentiary value that's there at that point. Again, to the guy that said, oh, the FBI ordered it. I said it then. And this was part of yesterday's broadcast, or it might even be in day one's broadcast. I said, no, they're not, because they have no jurisdiction. They don't have the authority to make that decision. And again, we had the case agent, who's Agent Hall from SBSI. I think it was yesterday, the day before, that came out, and he got asked that question. Did you order this or make the request for this happen? He's like, no, it had nothing to do with that, which is exactly what I said back then. So again, folks, these are the things that are getting promoted out there, completely have nothing to do with what's going on. So hopefully I provided some clarity to you, Iron Mike. And like I said, there's a lot of people that actually have brought that up. So you're not the only one. Hopefully I addressed it for enough people that it's not a concern anymore. Let's keep carrying on. We're almost done with the video parts. Kanoka the Great puts out new. Sean Davis says that the evidence of Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk is so strong that the dots basically connect themselves. Why do I want to show you this? Because this went down on Megyn Kelly's show, which was just poetic. Take a listen.
So what is actually able to explain all these known facts? What's the thread that runs through all of them? And what's the story that aligns with all of them? And the one in this one is not Israel or Egypt or helicopters or planes or exploding microphones. It's that we have an utter epidemic of transgender terroristic violence in this country. This wasn't the first time it happened. We have scores of examples. We had a woman who decided she was a boy go and shoot up a bunch of third graders at a Christian school in Nashville. It happened in Minnesota. It happened in Wisconsin. It is not a big leap to be like, oh, this guy whose DNA is on everything, the guy whose text messages were everywhere, the guy whose he's accounted for all over the campus. His parents recognized him. They turned him in. They confessed it. They have all of it in black and white. He was angry over Charlie's belief that boys can't become girls and girls can't become boys. This isn't a particularly difficult case. This isn't something where we're having to go plumb the depths of the internet and look at this document and that document to figure out what go on. The dots basically connect themselves. It's not a revolutionary theory. This is yet one more example of left-wing transgender terroristic violence. It has to stop. We have to crack down on it. One thing that I've been frustrated by is that we have not seen Antifa be dragged from their homes, their bank accounts raided, their assets frozen and liquidated, because this is a terrorist movement. It is a demonic, violent, terroristic, ideological movement that has been very open about its aims. And we can't just sit by and wait for one more to happen and then put that person in jail. This is something we actually have to tackle head on. I had hoped it would have happened immediately after Charlie was assassinated, and it wasn't, but it's never too late to start.
It's poetic that happened to Megyn Kelly. S minor. All right, folks. And I actually don't mind having the dialogue with the audience tonight because it's important. S minor says rifle gun is a distraction from the mic bomb, and I hope you're being sarcastic, folks. The mic bomb theory is the most retarded theory out of all the ones that I've heard so far. That one gets the trophy for the most retarded take on this. Let me explain why. All of you have access to the devil's Google. So I want you guys tonight, take 3 minutes to entertain this for me. I want you guys to take 3 minutes, go to the devil's Google, go to YouTube, and I want you to search out small shape charges. And then when you go and you research and you watch the clips on the small shape charges, you're going to see how destructive these little things can be, even in their smallest forms. Okay. 2, if you subscribe to the idea that they put a shape charge in his mic, which was off to his right, please explain to me how a device that's on his right shoulder is going to make an entrance wound into the left side of his neck, and it's not going to make a wound into his shoulder or chest cavity. 2, if you understand the concept of the explosion, and we're saying that the mic is on the outside, the magnet was on the inside, right? For these people that aren't familiar with these mics, right? So it's on the outside. Please show me the flash from it. And before you go on and say, there's a podcast out there that showed a frame of smoke. Again, no, you're seeing image blur. Because anybody that understands explosives, you don't have smoke in one frame. That's not the way smoke operates, right? You're going to have several frames of it. You're going to show the cloud, and then you'll show the as it kind of disseminates out, right? 2, okay? You would see burn marks to his bright ass white shirt if it was the mic that exploded. 2, all the people that have been trying to prove that it was a shooter from the other side, right, that don't want to believe it's Ted Robinson, then have slowed this down to the nth degree, where it shows his necklace coming up and all that. You get to see the frame by frame of everything that happens, and you see Charlie Kirk's body already moving like this, and the mic is still in his shirt because it hasn't launched out yet, right? It's early in the frame. That alone obliterates the explosive mic theory, right? And I've heard some people make the argument, for it to be an explosive mic, then you also would have had the audio team that's involved, because if those things are so small, they're not like the pagers, right? The pagers are a much larger device where you can have an operational pager and still have an explosive in it. The mics that they have are much smaller. So if you're going to put a shape charge in there that you want to result in the death of a person, then it's also not going to be a functional mic, which means that would have queued off on the audio team. But then again, you can make the argument that the audio team would have been a part of it. So I would at least argue that that concept is believable. But again, the mic part of it would, again, destroy it for the things that we just already talked about. So please, folks, if you're someone who's trying to push the explosive mic, just pick any other theory, because that one is no, anything is not possible. A lot is possible, but not everything is possible. All right, and then we'll get into the notes after this. Laura Loomer puts out, this bitch is out of her mind. For Cocoa Puffs, whether you like Laura Loomer or you don't, she definitely nails it sometimes, and she got it on this one. Candace Owens put this out, folks. This is real. I want to be very clear to all of my followers that if anything ever happens to me, I want Ben Shapiro, Jeremy Boring, and their Israeli connections explored thoroughly. Go all the way, max. I cannot say enough that they have been relentlessly stalking me and my family through the court system, and they have made it clear that they have no intention of stopping, and their obsession with lying about Charlie Kirk, who they hate, is not normal. Listen, I don't want anything to happen to Candace. As much as I despise this woman, who I think does not even have a soul, but she's literally, this is textbook left projection. This is what she's been doing. She has endangered Erica Kirk. How many people, and I even have some of you in my audience that message me all the time, Alpha, you're just missing it. Erica Kirk's evil. And I say, show me the evidence. Well, watch this video. No, show me the evidence. Articulate it to me. Candace Owens and the simp crowd have put Erica Kirk's life in danger. Whether you like Colvett or not, they've put Colvett's life in danger. Whether you like Jeremy Boring or not, they put his life in danger. How do we know that, Alpha? Because it's this rhetoric that led to the death of Charlie Kirk. The reason we're having this unfortunate broadcast tonight on the third day of the trial of Charlie Kirk's assassination is because a lot of these people have negated to address what the real problem here is. And the real problem here is that extreme rhetoric is what's created this brain rot disease on social media, alt media, podcasts, Discord, video games, where, again, I've made this argument. I'm not going to rehash it, but I'll summarize it. I have the crazies in my audience. What are you watching? All right. I love you, but you're crazy, right? I have the crazies in my audience that send me some wild shit, right? I'm like, you're nuts. You're crazy, right? Thank God. Thank God you don't know where I live because you're crazy. If me with my small podcasts have, an uncomfortable amount of crazies, how many do you think Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens, Benny Johnson, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, they have tons. And all you have to do is say the right things and get one of those crazies to think, if I do this, I'll be the hero to Candace. I'm going to go take this demon out. I'll be the hero. All these people think I'm the hero. And all it takes is just one of those crazies to act out on the ideology created by the fake rhetoric to then result in the loss of life like we did with Charlie Kirk. And again, this is what I'm talking about, the modern day MK Ultra. Yes, we know DARPA's doing this. Yes, we know the deep state is doing this. But you know what? A lot of other people who are normal people have also capitalized on this because they know how it works. Mike Irons. I'm not even going to go there. Mike Irons, you can watch my show yesterday if you want to say Erica's creepy. I'm not gonna rehash that. All right, so that does it for the video clips. Let me go through the notes now and just make sure we got everything from day 3. Again, today was Agent Davis from the Utah State Bureau of Investigation. The DA was Lauren Hunt. And also he had 18 years of experience on SBSI, for those that are curious. We talked about everybody that was interviewed. We talked about Tyler Robinson's actual arrest time. Mike Mitchell. So this is the family friend, right? The one that was the scout leader and had the ties to law enforcement. He also was interviewed twice. So interviewed the day of, and then he was interviewed again on March 31st, and that's when he did his 1102. We talked about the bullet found on the roof already, which was the 223. We talked about Tyler Twiggs having the 2 interviews, September 12th and April 20th. We covered immunity. He did a good job explaining that. As we know right now, two chats that are into question with this. There's the text messages, and then there's the Discord chat. And the Discord is the group chat. And that's also addressed in Twiggs' 1102. Defense Novak was fighting to not let the media hear Twiggs discuss the group chat and the text. We talked about that. Oh, the DNA. So there's a lot of people out there that are taking the part where the record wasn't corrected and saying, see, it was 89% Twiggs and only 5% Tyler Robinson. And obviously they corrected the record, and it was the other way around, but people still want to post that. So again, on the record, they corrected it. So for those that don't know, you had an 89% DNA match to Tyler Robinson and a 5 to 11% DNA match to Twiggs. Now here's what I want to address on the DNA. Again, shout out to my boy CanCon. Hey, you watched it. You watched yesterday, so I love you, brother. I love you. At least you watched it. I want to address the DNA because this is the thing that people are trying to confuse, okay? Well, one of the markers comes back as unidentifiable, right? I addressed that yesterday, but I'm going to address it again today because it got brought up today a lot by a lot of people. I used the shoe analogy, and I'm going to use it again tonight. So for those of you that saw yesterday, bear with me the next 90 seconds. Imagine for a second that we have a murder, and we see that the suspect, through surveillance footage, came in through the side window, and at the base of the side window in the mud is a shoe impression, okay? And we do our investigation, and we take a molding of that shoe impression, and we collect some fibers and rubber that we find at the scene of that shoe impression, okay? Everybody with me here. And then a few days later, the guy that commits the murder turns himself in, and he's still wearing the same shoe, right? It matches the shoe that we see on the home surveillance. So then I get that shoe as a detective, and I send it off to the DNA lab, right? And DNA lab comes back and says, the shoe impression to the sole of the shoe have a 99.9% match. Thumbs up. We're good. Okay, great. The size of the shoe and the shoe impression match. Poof. We're good. Okay. Then some of the fibers that we found on scene match the fibers of the shoelace, because your shoelace doesn't have a little tape, it gets loose. We got a 99% match on the shoe fibers, right? So the sole matches to perfection, like a footprint, right? That there's grooves and stuff. The sole matches to near perfection. The fibers match to near perfection. The size matches to near perfection. The video matches the design of the shoe. All that matches. But then we see the little rubber part. And on the tip of the shoe where the rubber is, we see the little dent. We're like, oh, that rubber went there. But that rubber comes back as undetermined. So everything is high probability, but the little rubber says undeterminable. And then we say, oh, this must not be the shoe. It's the most retarded thing in the world. That's not the way this works. One, the person doing the forensic expert doing the DNA analysis, they're not the ones that qualify this as the evidence. They're the ones that just say, hey, this marker showed me this marker showed me this marker showed me this. And based on the totality of everything and my experience and training, this is my assessment of this. Then it'll be the case agent, the detective, and the DA that make the ultimate determination of what value that represents to, is this something that meets the threshold of at least probable cause, if not more, right? They make that determination. In this case, that's what that marker is. All the other markers are high probability Tyler Robinson, but this one's not. So then you had the defense, because this is what the defense does, right? And it shows that it works because so many of you have picked up on it. The defense targets that one marker that doesn't have where her assessment comes back as undeterminable. Well, here it's undeterminable. Here it's undeterminable. And you're going against what this says. And what does she explain in the course of this? And I'm summarizing hours of testimony here. Essentially what she says is, no, it's not based on this one or that one. I take the totality of my analysis and the totality of the data that I'm given, and then I make a determination. And since 99 out of 100 were high probability, then no, I'm not, that one is insignificant to me. Just in case that was confusing, I'm going to show you one more analogy. Imagine I show you a photo from a sky of a building. And I ask you, what building is that? And you look down and you can only see the roof and you say, I don't know. Okay. So then I show you the front of the building and it says Costco. And then I show you the side of the building and it says Costco. And then I ask you, what building is that? And you say, well, I don't know, because when I look at it from the top, I couldn't tell. How retarded would that be? You'd be like, that's retarded. On the other photos, I can obviously tell that that's Costco. That's what this is, folks. Okay. That is the basic 101 DNA for dummies explanation. And if there's a forensic expert in the audience, let me know if my analogy provides clarity to what went down. All right, let's go through the notes and then I'll look for any questions that you guys have and maybe I'll answer a few of those questions. The exhibit. So exhibit 16. This is the video and the 22 pages. Initially, the judge was only going to redact from the 32-minute and 55-second mark to the 35 and 48-second mark. Someone do the Marine Corps math on me. What's that? Around a minute and something, 2 minutes. He was only going to redact that part. And he was going to allow the other 19 pages of transcript, which translate into the video. That video and audio was going to be played. That's where this was going. I was like, all right, we're not going to see that part, but we're going to see everything else. Then the defense did a good job and they went and presented their case. And ultimately the judge came back and then he's just like, all right. So in addition to the 32-minute, 55-second to the 35, 48-second mark, we're also going to not play for us, the people, right? The public. We're also not going to play from the 6-minute, 6-minute and 56-second mark all the way up into the 20-minute, 27-minute mark. So we're looking right around just short of 14 minutes on that segment. So we're looking at about 15 minutes or so, nearly half or almost half of this video that us, the public, is not going to be able to hear. Now, going back to how we started this show, where, if I can get back to my rifle, then, I should be good. Obviously, I'm misquoting exactly how he said on that text message. That's damning as shit. That is so damning. Yet, the defense doesn't want us to hear nearly 15 minutes of this audio from Lance Twiggs' interview with the agent. Now, the defense explains it as the agent saying, there's this, and he articulates it as Lance Twiggs articulating just kind of like, yeah. And, you know, my understanding of what the argument he was trying to make is that this is more of a testimony from the officer, and Lance Twiggs is kind of signing off on it with, you know, some verbal response. We don't know what that response is. And he says, obviously, there are other parts that don't meet that criteria, but obviously there's some of that. But what I would say is whatever is in this audio and video that they're not showing us must be very, very, very damning. This is speculation. I want to be very clear. I would deduct that there is a more detailed confession in this text message and audio that they know is so damning they don't want the public to hear it. Because remember, the charging documents are only going to show just enough that the judge keeps Tyler Robinson in custody and says, yes, there's enough here to bring these charges forward. You don't show your entire hand. I know then. Well, how do you know that, Alpha? Because I was a cop and a detective. And I did it for over 14 years of my life, writing search warrants and all the such. I've written probable cause declarations. I've written affidavits. I've done the warrants. I know what I'm talking about here. Again, this part's speculation because I wasn't part of this investigation, but based on my experience and kind of what I've kind of deducted from today's interaction with the defense attorney, the prosecution, and the judge, that's kind of what I would lean to think on that. So that should cover everything. Yeah. And again, I'll be watching day 4 tomorrow to see what goodies come out. And I don't even know what time I'm going to be doing it tomorrow because we have Badlands Daily in the morning, then I have Sit Rep, then we have Overwatch and The Guardian. But don't worry, folks, I will find a way to get it to you guys. So with that, I am going to do something I don't normally do. And I know there's a little bit of a delay between me talking and you guys putting stuff out there with, 30 seconds, 40 seconds. But I'm going to turn to the chat real quick and see if you guys have presented any questions that I think I can address with regards to Charlie Kirk. So I am going to zoom through here. Let's see. I'm avoiding statements. I'm looking for more. Let's see. Alan says, keep being critical thinker. This court case is excellent for evidence it will provide to crush lies speculation. Totally agree with that, Alan. I got you on that one. Miss Rhea, Freedom Fighter says, yes, that is crazy. Alpha sounds like the freaks are throwing each other under the bus. They are. Lonesome Fugitive says, judge being very helpful to the defense, not giving them any basis for an appeal. Very differential. Yes, I won't say he's being helpful. I think he's just being thorough. Because even when the defense, there was a part in the defense today where Novak comes out and he tells the judge, well, Your Honor, if you would have told me to do this back when that had to do with them addressing this 22-page document, I would have went about it differently. So, moving forward in the future, if we have something, you should tell us this so I can, present my argument then. And the judge, this was that, are things amicable or not, right? This was that professional conflict that we got to witness. And the judge says, look, I want you to make it very clear. I am not pro-prosecution. I am not pro-defense. I'm the magistrate who is impartial. I'm not going to tell you how to do your business, nor am I going to tell them. That's on you guys. I'm telling you, that was, I want to say the F word so bad. Where's my F-bomb jar? That was so freaking solid and professional. I'm telling you, so far, at least in the prelim, this case is one that would be great for the training environment of attorneys and people of such, in the future. Let me go through and see. Larry 5673 says, at Alpha, I do believe it happened as the evidence shows, but as you always say, question everything. Absolutely question everything. So what if Charlie was an op, getting a movement started, and he was removed to WITSEC? I doubt it. But here's the thing. Let me tell you guys why. Do I subscribe to the idea of the potential that Jeffrey Epstein was put into WITSEC 18 USC 3521? For those that are curious and want to go research it, I invite you to do it. Yes. Why? Because of the minimal people that were involved. You had 2 or 3 guards potentially. you would probably have 1 or 2 people that were, cell people that have a window of observation crossing or through his cell, and you have a transport. So you're talking at most 5 people, right? At most, that would have to be involved in a cover-up if such a thing existed with Epstein. Very plausible. Very, very plausible. With Charlie Kirk, this is why I believe, this is why I do not subscribe to the idea that Charlie Kirk's death was fake and that it wasn't real, because this is what has to happen in order for that theory to exist. That means every cop is in on it. That means that the entire crowd is in on it. It means the school surveillance system people are in on it. The security's in on it. You're talking thousands of people that would have to be in on it in order for that to be an operation. Thousands. That means you're entrusting thousands of people to all maintain a level of the highest secrecy ever known to man. Impossible, right? We just saw somebody said a little while, anything is possible, not all things. Impossible. That's not how it would have gone. If their intentions were to do something like that, you would have saw a much smaller controlled venue with a much smaller amount of people in his immediate presence. And it would have been something that would have been a more controlled environment. This was not that. As much as we hate it, is Charlie Kirk was assassinated and he is dead. And that's what's going on. But I appreciate the question, Larry, because a lot of people kind of wonder that. All right, let me go back to the bottom. Damn, a bunch of things came in. Let's see. Hari Amanda says 749. Deeper we go, the more unrealistic it all becomes. The end won't be for everybody. That choice to know will be yours. Q, like that one. All right, but I want to find a question. You guys, could help me out by putting the damn question mark at the end of your statement if you're asking a question. Just say it. Okay. The Dead Rabbit says, why can't you say fuck? No, I can say fuck. It's just, I know some people want to watch the replay during the day sometimes and their children around. So I try to be conscious of my language. Although every now and then you just need a drop of good F-bomb, right? Let's see. Ryle Dragon says clears about. Okay, so now let's take a look at the YouTube crowd, see if there's any questions. Okay, we do got one. Let me see. Let's bring it up on the screen so everybody's saying. Let me go full screen with me so you guys can see me a little better. Big Amish Media says, don't agree. It's like the fake moon landing theory that thousands of employees of NASA and contractors must be in on it. How do so many people keep a secret? Same for JFK. But then again, what do I know? Well, no, you're talking two different things. You're talking about an entity, NASA, right? You're talking about, whether it be a couple hundred, but you're talking all people that belong to the same entity. What we're talking here is thousands of civilians, thousands of uninvolved people. That's a very distinct difference. Big Amish Media, at least on my take on that one. So I think we're comparing apples to oranges on that one. Let's see. Another question. Let's see. This one comes from Sleepy Giant 1229. Also necessary, sadly. But I can't see how they could have pulled off this otherwise. There was a question mark there. I don't know why. I just want to make sure we're solid before we move on to the coup d'etat. I know you guys want some of that. All right. Looks like we're good. If you guys have enjoyed the content up to this part, again, tomorrow I'll be covering day 4. Do me a solid. Hit the thumb, hit the heart, leave a comment, share this out. And with that, we're going to go to an ad. And when we come back, we'll do the coup d'etat. So here we go. We'll be back in just a moment.
Science proves that a healthy immune system is the body's first defense against the smallest of ailments to the most catastrophic. Coriolus versicolor is the most sought-after, all-natural supplement for both humans and pets to help boost the immune system. There are over 400 studies worldwide on its effectiveness in humans, including Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, MD Anderson Cancer Center, and now from the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Medicine, Together, we can help reverse this terrible tide now plaguing your loved ones and give them the immune-boosting supplements that they need.
AlphaWarrior247.com, AlphaWarrior Pets down there if you want to get free pets. Those links all down in the description. And one for the love of Rumble, Emerald Med, folks. You're going to see a QR code populate on the screen right about now. I want to take 60 seconds to shout out a brand that supported creators on Rumble for a while. It's Emerald Med. They make CBD products from hemp, but there's things you may not know. Instead of using one crop, they actually use 3 different hemp strains because no one strain contains every compound they wanted. They combine hot and cold process extracts, since some hemp compounds are activated by heat while others are damaged by it. On top of that, they use raw extracts to preserve minor compounds, trace minerals, and micronutrients that are typically lost. Their CBD oil alone has 6 to 9 raw batches blended into it. Instead of 1 to 10 compounds, they have up to 50 plus compounds. A lot of brands talk about freedom and wave the flag only when it's trending. Emerald Med was using their company to fight for people's medical freedom during COVID while getting bank accounts shut down and tires slashed for it. They put money every year into fighting laws that limit access to health and alternatives. They often say they want to make products so effective that Helen Keller can see the difference. I like that. Nothing is a cure-all, but it's worth a try. Maybe they can help you feel 30, 60, or 80% better. Maybe it's enough to help you support sleeping well. Maybe it gives you a few hours a day of not feeling awful. Maybe it's enough to be able to do things like you used to. They're celebrating America's 250th, and you can click below or scan the QR code right now to try them at a discount today. Check them out. I like the way they wrote that one up. That was pretty cool. All right, folks, with that, let's get back into the show. Let me bring our content back on the screen. I'm not a fan of Jerome Corsi. I would imagine a lot of you that follow the boards are probably not, but nonetheless, I found this conversation quite interesting. Real America's Voice puts, "We've been in a coup d'etat." Jerome Corsi called on President Trump to issue a national security emergency executive order to overhaul election procedures, arguing that the survival of the republic depends on it implementing major changes to voting systems. Now, this is something you've heard me and Josh talking about. And now we're starting to see some voices into the alt media world to talk about this. Again, I don't trust Jerome Corsi, but I want you guys to hear what he's got to say here. So let's take a listen.
Yes, I've been working on this, Steve, since the second inauguration with Peter Ticktin, Ticktin, who's Donald Trump's personal attorney. Peter and President Trump have known each other since they were about 15 years old. They went to military academy together. And basically, we found overwhelming evidence that our algorithms, the codes in the state board of election databases that permit the creation of millions of false records, modified duplicates that can be then hidden in the database and pulled out in mail-in ballot fraud. It's how the Democrats have been winning elections. So a national security emergency, yes, there's ample evidence of foreign nations have interfered in the 2020 election and subsequently. There's ample evidence of massive, the evidence is actually legion of voter fraud, and it largely stems around the mail-in ballot fraud. You saw it in California with the extended days of counting. So what President Trump realizes is that we've been in a coup d'etat from not the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is dead. This is a Democratic Socialist Party, which is really a revolutionary party. They've gone beyond neo-Marxism and cultural Maoism and anarchy. Now they actually want to destroy the country, and they're out there openly embracing anti-Semitism, embracing our enemies in the radical Islamic terrorist world, and crazy ideas of changing the sex of children, so children who now reach the age of puberty get sexually mutilated and can never have children themselves. I mean, the ideas are incredible. But what Donald Trump knows is that if he does not change the rules with an executive emergency order, that we will have only citizens voting, voter ID required, paper balloting, mail-in ballots eliminated from this overall general mail-in ballot back to the absentee ballot system. and no computers used to count the votes. If the Democrats don't care any longer, the Democratic Socialists, they'll lie, they'll cheat, they'll steal. They intend to steal the election. And the plan is that once the Democratic Socialists get in charge of the House and Senate, they'll impeach simultaneously President Trump and Vice President Vance. They'll remove them from office in the Senate. They'll charge them with treason through the Department of Justice, and they'll put Hakeem Jeffries in as president. That's the plan. And Donald Trump knows that the survival of the republic depends on a presidential executive order, which cannot be challenged in the courts, to require 2/3 vote in the House and Senate to overturn. If Donald Trump needed to, he can bring in the National Guard, as he had to do in Washington, D.C., to clean the streets, in order to take any state that refuses to cooperate and make sure their elections are held according to these rules. And that we've been working on. I've been working on that for 2 years. And it's a solution, the only solution possible here. Otherwise, this will be the last election we may ever have.
Don't disagree with them, because this is what we've been saying for nearly a year now. Now, my concerns. Again, the boards are not fond of Jerome, right? There's that. I don't know if you guys caught it, but he used a John Brennan word in there when he says the lesion. And it was enough to make my ears pucker, because I don't like when they use the same version of the guy that I know is the mastermind on the tactical side of the deep state, which is John Brennan. So is he trying to show Trump's play to his characters in media to try to rug pull Trump from doing this? I don't know. Did the good guys get this guy and grab him by the back of the hair and say, this is how you're going to start? This is the message you're going to put out there? Could be. I don't know. What I will say is this is the position we've been pushing. And the fact that he's adopting it now to go on and provide this to Bannon and the War Room and others, I just don't know how I feel about it. Not the content, because again, obviously I agree with it because I've been sharing this. But the fact that he's saying it and the fact that he used lesion in that, this really gets my spidey senses going. But he's right. There's absolutely been a coup d'etat, but there's also been a coup d'etat against the deep state. And both of those things are in play. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I'm very curious to your guys' take on Jerome Corsi. Am I being too paranoid with this guy? I don't know. And give me more of an answer than trust the plan, bro. All right, don't be an ass. I really want to know your guys' take on him to see how far off I am aligned with you guys, or how close we are. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. John Solomon puts out breaking: Hillary Clinton urges federal employees to refuse to share information with Pulte. This is damn little. This is a coup d'etat. And again, this is the lesion. John Brennan came out and he says we have a lesion still within, I don't know if he said it was the FBI or the intelligence community. He might have said the IC. Either way, he still identified this shadow government as the lesion. And this is Hillary coming out and trying to do it. Now, again, I believe that Hillary and Bill have gotten their collars grabbed based on the testimony we saw. At least Bill. Who knows with maybe Hillary, right? Maybe she's going to fight to the end. Dragonfly 777's course is right. No, Dragonfly. I agree with the statement. I've been pushing that statement. I want to know how you guys feel about Jerome Corsi himself. That's, if I didn't communicate that correctly. But again, this is Hillary Clinton calling on the federal employees to coup Trump's peeps, right? Because Pulte's in there, but again, he's already fired a shitload of people. So, and then of course you would have this, the White House, right? This is back from October of 2016. Hillary Clinton puts happy birthday to this future president, right? And the White House, this was on the 30th. the White House puts this out. So she's sitting there telling the federal employees, hey, don't cooperate with Pulte, right? Let's activate this coup d'etat, or let's reinforce this coup d'etat that's going on. And this was the White House saying, bitch, you ain't president. Remember this? I just thought that this was next level trolling. But on top of that, let's see if there was a message. This was at 4:40 p.m. my time, so this would be 7:40 p.m. Eastern time. And if we go to drop 7:40, which is February 11th, 2018, for those that want to look at it, check out what it says. Let me zoom in on this so you guys can see it a little bit better, because I really like this. Max capacity. One other prison being prepped. Is that for Hillary? I don't know. You guys be the judge. Let's keep going. Patriot Oasis puts out, Justin, former CIA director, speaking of the devil, John Brennan, has sued the Trump administration to preserve records in their investigation into him. In other words, there's information John Brennan doesn't want to be public. I actually think that there's a different purpose for this. Let me play this clip and then I'll give you guys my breakdown.
There, former CIA Director John Brennan is suing the Trump administration, demanding a court order that would require officials to preserve records from investigations that he says are targeting him for phantom criminal conduct. The lawsuit says Brennan is facing an investigation over whether he made a false statement to Congress, and another probe determining if he and other officials conspired to undermine President Trump.
So, what do I think is going on, and why do I think John Brennan made this move? I actually think it's quite genius, and it's probably why I just fear that this man having the ability to be the operations planner of this. John Brennan knows, and we know coming out of the Southern District of Florida with Quinones and now Joe, damn it, I'm going to mess this up, DeGenova. Hopefully I got that right. Someone's going to yell at me, right? But we know that these indictments are coming down the chain. We know that John Brennan's attorneys have already looked into this and had questions. So they know it's coming down the pipe. And for that reason, they're suing the administration to keep these records preserved, right? Why? I don't think it's because he doesn't want them to go public. That could be a part of it, but I think it's actually something more strategic. Brennan knows, and what I believe he is showing the one of his hands to Trump's administration, the good guys, is, since you're going to indict me, I'm going to have access to discovery, and I want to know who on my side you're going after. Because if they're doing these, if he goes and he's having them preserve these records and some of these conversations, I need somebody to do it. Lee Zapp says, DeGenova. That's what I feel like. That's what I said. I feel like you guys are just harassing me now, right? I feel like you guys are just being cyber bullies. I think let's play the replay. I believe I said DeGenova, right? I think that's how I said it, right? I think you guys now are just tripping, but I think the reason that Brennan's doing this is he's trying to get them to delay indicting him, because he's already showing them that I'm going to come out and be very aggressive in getting the discovery in order to compromise other investigations you guys are still doing. And I'm telling you guys, I am very, very confident that this is a strategy that he's deploying, and it's genius. It's genius because if the white hats, right? We'll just call them the white hats for the good guys. If the white hats still have other wiretaps and low-hanging fruit and other people that they're going after, and they're not ready to have some of that stuff, potentially compromised through discovery, and they know that this is the route he's going, then he's going to kind of force them to delay probably a move that they wanted to do. And the longer that the guy is out, then the more of a damaging variable he is to the operation. And so, again, as smart as he is, I also believe that the white hats are smarter and got more people that are smarter, and maybe they've anticipated and there's a counter move that they got ready for that. And maybe they were very smart from the beginning and knew to have communications separated with regards to other potential targets. And if that's the case, dialed in, man. Lots of respect for these guys, but on the early stages, sometimes you kind of learn that as you go. So we'll see. But again, I think that this is a strategy being deployed by Brennan And if it is the case, if I'm accurate here, then it's pretty damn genius, evil genius from his side. Let's keep going. We're almost done with this section. Eagle Ed Martin puts out, this important document catalogs how they try to steal our history. No more Saving America's story, the White House. And when we go here, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's 162 pages, but I do want to go to the table of contents to show you guys something. So let me go here, because I want to read some of these to you guys so you can see how they go about it. Hold on, almost there. Here we go. So hopefully you guys can see this on your screen. I think I can probably zoom in just a little bit more before I cut it off too much. So the table of contents, listen to this stuff. This goes into chapter 2, the National Museum of History and its radical ideology. Self-proclaimed activist leadership, new mission of social and political activism, attempt to push museum visitors away from America First mentality, Center for Restorative History, examples of ideological purpose at the National Museum of American History, extensive partnerships and advocacy for extending citizenship to illegal aliens. Like when you go through this thing, they are trying to change the mindset and perception of how people see our country. It is wild. Penn W says, yeah, Alpha has his own language, LOL, and we love him for it. You guys ain't right. Listen, I said it right. All right. Y'all just tripping. That's what you guys are doing. So anyways, that ends the coup d'etat section, and we're going to get into the Newsom part because I wanted to talk about this all week. And now we're here. Panic says MJ Truth Ultra. Remember a few weeks ago, Gavin Newsom released a video in tears stating he and his wife were being investigated. Well, holy crap, it just got worse for the greasy bastard. It was revealed today, longtime Democrat insider and Newsom appointee Alexis Podesta, not related to those Podestas, secretly wore an FBI wire recording device while cooperating with federal investigators in a probe that started with Newsom's former chief of staff, Dana Williamson. Holy shite. Williamson pleaded guilty in May of 2026. We covered that on this show, to conspiracy to commit bank and wire fraud, filing a false tax return, and making false statements to the FBI. The scheme involved siphoning roughly $225,000 from a dormant campaign account of former Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra, disguised as consulting fees to benefit Becerra's ex-chief of staff. This explains why many Sacramento political insiders and lobbyists received FBI letters last fall about intercepted calls. The net was cast wide. Holy shite. The investigation has since been expanded to include Newsom himself, his wife, Jennifer Siebold Newsom, including probes into her nonprofit finances and taxes. The walls are closing in on California's most corrupt political machine. You're going to prison. With a little exclamation mark there. I have this clip for you guys. I believe, let me see, because I readjusted everything. Let's see, MJ. I don't have one, but I do have one coming up. Erica puts out, Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff has been wearing a wire on behalf of the FBI. Here's the part that you guys need to understand. Now, when I first heard this story, I was like, let's go Trump. And then I looked into it and I was like, holy shit, you guys are gonna like this part. Gavin Newsom's former chief of staff has been wearing a wire on behalf of the FBI for years. He's cooked. Before people claim Trump, the wire wearing started under the Biden administration in June of 2024. Politics exclusive reports by Josh Cohen on July 2nd, 2026. The revelation she was wearing a wire as far back as June 2024. Why does this matter, folks? If you go back to the conversations that me and Josh and others have had around Biden getting the letter from Trump and then him capitalizing on it, this tells you, and Trump says, I'm on my third presidency, right? Do I think Trump was president during Biden's administration? No, I'm not one of the ones that subscribes to that idea. I've made my argument of why. I believe he was more in a consulting role, maybe even CIC. I could entertain that argument, but even that's a hard one to push on me. But again, he had the influence. What I think that took place during this time is that deals were made and that Biden, who is being controlled by Obama and the deep state, got an opportunity to do self-preservation, and he took the deal. And that is why we are seeing some of these investigations happening during Biden's administration. This is fire. Eric Doherty puts, now it's been confirmed that the FBI mic'd up senior Democrat inside of Gavin Newsom's political orbit for secret recordings before ramping up a corruption investigation into his wife, Jennifer. The wiretap was approved under Biden, and this clip, I believe I do have for you guys. Here we go.
The FBI recruited a member of Governor Gavin Newsom's inner political circle to wear a wire as early as June 2024. So who was this cooperating witness? Alexis Podesta, a veteran Sacramento Democrat who worked under former Governor Jerry Brown. She did so in 2020. Newsom appointed her then to the board of the State Compensation Insurance Fund, a position that she still holds. She later became a key cooperating witness in the federal corruption case against Newsom's former chief of staff, Dana Williamson, who pleaded guilty in May to federal fraud and tax charges. And that's where the story takes a major turn. The New York Post is reporting, quote, Democrat insider Alexis Podesta secretly recorded conversations during the criminal probe into Newsom's then chief of staff, Dana Williamson. The revelation that she was wearing a wire as far back as June 2024 explains why Sacramento political insiders and lobbyists were stunned to receive FBI letters last fall informing them their phone calls had been intercepted during the investigation. And that timeline matters. The wiretap would have been authorized during the Biden administration, and federal wiretaps aren't handed out lightly. Investigators must establish probable cause, show a wiretap is necessary, and the DOJ must approve it. Then a federal judge has to sign off. And
I'm telling you, this is absolutely phenomenal. Let's keep going because it gets better. Alex Jones decides to join the party. He wanted to put down his black pilling there for a second. He puts breaking DOJ secretly surveilling Governor Newsom for at least 5 years and reportedly has total proof of hundreds of millions stolen by Pelosi crime network that Newsom served in for decades. Welcome to the party, Mr. Alex Jones. I think I do have this clip for you guys right here. Let me double check. Make sure I'm not getting ahead of myself. Yes, here we go.
FBI mole wore wire inside Newsom's inner circle for years. They reportedly have scores of recordings. It's all part of the Pelosi crime family network. He's a nephew and all of that. Tens of millions of dollars total stolen by the network, hundreds of millions alone to Newsom. Every crime under the sun being carried out, every fraud you can imagine. And what's interesting here, and I'll be getting to it, is Trump is sitting on it. This was all done by Joe Biden. That's why Newsom didn't run against him. That's why Newsom always kissed Joe Biden's ass. And now the Trump Justice Department has this information and has actually now picked up on it and is doing more subpoenas and following up. It's totally slam dunk. And obviously they're going to say it's political. Well, obviously everything's political at some point, but this is like shooting fish in a barrel.
Welcome to the party. And I found the clip earlier that I wanted to show you from NJ Truth, so I'm going to play that one next. This is the one that has Newsom when he was just in full panic.
In recent days, federal agents have knocked on the doors of family, friends, and former employees. Not because they found a crime, because they're simply trying to find one. They're demanding records. They're abusing the grand jury process, digging through years and years of random documents. Donald Trump isn't just coming after me because of my mean tweets. He's coming after me because I'm considering running for president, because he hates that I've consistently called him out over and over again for his lies and deceit. Donald Trump is simply the most corrupt president in American history. He's turned the levers of government into his own personal power ministries to reward cronies and to try to jail his opponents. His personal attorney now runs the Department of Justice, which has repeatedly gone after his political enemies. Ask Jerome Powell. Sent them after James Comey, Trish James, Adam Schiff. He sent them after Tim Walz, and a woman that a jury found Donald Trump had sexually abused. One by one, anyone who has challenged Donald Trump has ended up on his hit list. And today, I proudly join that list. After calling for my arrest last year, Donald Trump directed his Department of Justice to investigate me. And just in the last week, I've learned that his campaign has reached my own home. To get me, he's coming after my wife, Jen, a public servant, a woman who's dedicated her life to supporting women and girls, someone who has done nothing wrong other than having the temerity to advocate for what she believes in. If they can't intimidate me, they'll go after the mother of our children. Donald Trump picked the wrong target. We have nothing to hide. His political operatives can take every record and read every page, but they'll be looking in the wrong place. Because if they really want to find corruption, look no further than 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Donald Trump is selling the presidency. He's running the largest cash heist in American political history, trading foreign tariff relief for approval of his golf courses, day trading behind the Resolute desk, reaping hundreds of millions of dollars in personal profit. And he's doing it openly. He's doing it on camera. He did it last night on the White House lawn. He's doing it through cryptocurrencies. He's doing it through the receipt of a $400 million private jet from a foreign government that he plans to keep when he leaves office. Through his son's ventures in countries where his own administration is simultaneously making policy. His personal fortune has skyrocketed by $4 billion since making his return to office. This is the behavior of a regime, not a republic. The White House has become a marketplace for sneakers and coins and watches, cologne, guitars, Bibles, and phones. Influence for sale, access for sale. And today, my family and I can personally confirm that justice is for sale. To Donald Trump, who I know is watching because he watches everything, I have a message for you. You can subpoena my records. You can investigate me. You can harass me. Put my name on every and any enemies list you have, but leave my wife and family out of your personal vendetta. I'd like to say something to my wife. These times are not normal. They're not ordinary. I love you. And I'm sorry he's doing this. You have not earned a single one of the indignities that he's trying to inflict on you and our children. And to Donald Trump, this country does not belong to you. It does not belong to your cronies. And we're going to fight your lawlessness. And we're going to continue to remind the people of this country of your corruption. That same corruption our founders warned us against. As we move to celebrate our 250th anniversary, I'm going to keep reminding Americans of what they warned would happen if a man with no character ever held the office of presidency. So let me say it again. Mr. President, come after me. I'm not going anywhere. And the country is watching.
Am I an asshole because I'm laughing? Fuck this guy. He didn't care about my son's birthday, 13 years old, having the FBI raid us with the flashbang. Fuck this guy. He didn't care when the FBI came in here and had my 2-month-old in the bassinet. But we were all outside and she was in here by herself. He didn't care about any of the prosecution and persecution that my family went through. What about my kids, my missus? Had guns pointed at them, innocent people. His wife don't know shit about persecution yet. This is the California, this is the mafia family. This is the Pelosi's, the Newsoms. That is panic, folks. Panic. And guess what? What information did they get from that wire for since 24 at least? Oh boy. They know what was said in those meetings. And if you need proof that this guy hates California and hates the United States, look no further than Amy Meck's post here. Breaking: Gavin Newsom appoints Sharia-compliant Muslim judge who forced the government to comply with Islamic law. New video reveals how Sharia adherent Harris Saeed, now a sitting judge in Los Angeles County, appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom, spent over a decade living by strict Sharia principles and made the government bend to them. As a public defender, Saeed refused LA County's retirement matching contributions for more than 13 years. He turned down potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in employer matches and investment growth, even after having children, because the plans involved riba, interest, which is strictly forbidden under Islamic law, Sharia. When the county kept rejecting his requests, he didn't back down. He fought back. Saeed sued Los Angeles County with legal help connected through Terror Tide Care. And the case was backed by attorneys from Stanford Law's School Religious Liberties Clinic. He won a religious accommodation. The government was forced to create a special exemption, lowering the investment threshold so he could access Sharia-compliant funds instead. Islam is using the mask of religious freedom to conquer America from within. Saeed is a deeply devout Muslim, which should concern our government. He openly talks about living according to Islamic rules, including growing a beard in line with the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad and using the American legal system to make the statement accommodate Sharia-compliant investing. Did you know that Muhammad commanded Muslims to grow their beards specifically to differentiate them from non-Muslims? He said, "Differ from the polytheists, let beard grow and trim the mustache." This is a real judge now sitting on the bench in one of America's largest court systems. A man who refused to compromise on Sharia for over a decade sued the government and won with the support from jihadis from CARE and Stanford Law. CARE helped connect them to legal support. Stanford Law attorneys backed the case, and in the end, the government changed its policy to fit his Islamic requirements. We are putting Sharia-compliant judges appointed by left-wing governors in courts. Quick reminder, Islamic law is absolutely incompatible with true democracy. It is a theocratic system with Allah alone at its head. Allah's law is interpreted by a ruling body of clerics. There is no room for a secular political system in which all the people are treated as equals. Let me play this clip for you guys if you're not worked up already.
So Harris Saeed is a longtime public defender with Los Angeles County, and Zeba Huq is a civil rights attorney who at the time worked with him through Stanford's Religious Liberties Clinic.
So then I'm like, okay, I think litigation might be the option. So I reach out to CARE National, Council on American Islamic Relations, and they put me in touch with someone local in Los Angeles, and that person put me in touch with Zeba and Stanford Law School's Religious Liberties Clinic. And from then on, they were instrumental in helping. So I did both with them, right? I said, I presented it as, can you make a socially conscious plan? Because I didn't want to use the term Sharia compliant or scaring me off with something like that, right? But and there was really no need to say that stuff. But that's why I took a folder from Amana Mutual Funds to say, look, this is an option that's available. If you want to just add it to your portfolio of plans, then it's seamless. I could just invest in this one.
Yeah.
And to really, do their due diligence and understand, can we provide this or not? And so I think what people are going to be seeing, hopefully, is that when they approach their employers with this request, that it's not just an immediate no. I mean, I think LA County did do its work, although to be fair, the arguments they presented were just not, they didn't really withstand scrutiny, to be fair, but I think we're in a world too where the law has developed to a place where employers and their legal departments should be taking these requests pretty seriously and really trying to accommodate these individuals.
Listen, Harris, Zeba, thank you so much for taking the time. I think this has been really, really beneficial for a lot of reasons. I think it's a continuation from, we talked about the private sector and doing it one way. This has been really helpful. And I think one of the biggest things I got out of this was that, there is religious accommodation. We just have to be able to really stand up and say, I want this accommodation, and how can my employer help me to be able to get there?
Thank you. And thanks for having us. And I have to give a shout out to Zeba and Stanford Law School. I mean, absent Stanford coming in and Zeba coming in, I don't know how this would have happened.
I mean, a lot of people out there want to tell you, the Muslim stuff is fake. Does that sound fake to you guys? Because the guy's a sitting judge here in LA County. Gavin Newsom wants to burn this place down because he knows he's cooked. These threats exist, folks, and it's not just here in California. It's all over the country. Later on, when you're on the devil's Google, like I told you guys, go and Google how many Islamic mosques are in this country. The information you find out should bother you to the bone. Almost done with this section, folks. Gina Milan put, Spencer Pratt definitely knew something was brewing behind the scenes with Gavin Newsom. He most definitely did. Enjoy this quick little clip.
Filipinos have been struggling for years now, all while corrupt politicians and fraudulent NGOs profit off the misery and fleece us for the tax dollars. Well, now we're flipping the script. I want all of you awake at night sweating and worried about 5 a.m. when the FBI blazers bust in the door, breaking open your office, because I assure you, they're coming. You think your election was going to stop me? If you want to stop me,
you're going to have to fucking kill me!
And for those of you that don't know, Mr. Spencer Pratt recently met with POTUS. Wonder what that was about. I'm telling you guys, California, we are going to win this state back because these crime families are going to be arrested. That is where my level of confidence is. And in our last clip to end this segment, Bannon's War Room puts it out. The Dems are all in total freak out mode. You ever seen a freak out like this? Why? Because we're getting to the railhead of the stolen 2020 election, which goes back to the clip with Jerome Corsi. Again, I don't trust him, but he's actually pushing this the theory that I have on what Trump needs to do. And an article that a very long, not even call it an article, book that's going to be coming out. Hopefully, if I can get it done before Trump does that, so you guys have time to study it. This will be the way we end this segment right here.
Really tell me. I mean, are Republicans really just putting their heads in the sand on this? Can you really tell me they're not uncomfortable with the way the Justice Department is going after Donald Trump's political enemies, or the way the Justice Department or the DNI appears to be trying to uncover all the evidence of a stolen election when the election was not stolen? I mean, it seems insane to me to not be concerned about it.
Yeah, I think there are some who are, and there are others who say, well, listen, the Biden Justice Department, the Obama
how can they
Justice,
equate it,
I'm
honestly?
not defending it.
I know. I'm just asking, how can they honestly look in the mirror and equate that?
They can't. They can't with a straight face, at least, right? I mean, listen, any measure of any honest analysis is that fraud is either non-existent or minimal, and certainly not impactful in the election. You know, I think there are those who are uncomfortable but are not willing to say it publicly because that's not where the president is. I mean, listen, this is where we are right now as a country and as a legislative body. It ain't pretty, Katie. I don't know what to tell you. It's not pretty. But, you know, you sometimes you want to shake these people and say, do you believe what you're saying? And I don't physically do that because I might be arrested, but I some of them do, many of them don't. And many of them say privately the opposite of what they say publicly.
Okay, Thursday, 2 July, year of our Lord 2026. Ken Delanian, did he say, think about this for a second, folks. So Cash is there investigating. You got Solomon declassifying. You got Pulte doing things. They're all in total freak-out mode. You ever seen a freak-out like this? Why? Because it's getting to the railhead of the stolen 2020 election and working with foreign interference, where these Democrats and establishment Democrats were treasonous to the country. Treasonous. They're so freaked out. They're so freaked out. We're going to show the evidence of they knew. And if not co-conspirators, then certainly look the other way or suppress the information. Ken Delanian, to try to suck you. They're not doing, it's an opportunity cost. They could be doing all the things that FBI should be doing, like immigration enforcement. Screw you, dude. How dumb do you think people are? You're a clown. Mouthpiece for the deep state, Ken Delanian. It's unbelievable. They could be doing other things like immigration enforcement. Oh my gosh, Ken Delanian's right. Please, Cash, shut it down. You got to get back to immigration enforcement. Screw you, Delanian.
I enjoyed that one right there. Since we're approaching the 2.5 hour mark, let me get to the Rumble rants. And I saw a super chat that came in there, and I know some of you are probably tired, and I'm like, I don't know if I can make it to the end of the show, Alpha. I'm struggling. I got one eye open looking like Dan Crenshaw right now. Hey, listen, I got to be up in a few hours to do a show with CanCon for Badlands Daily in the morning. But I understand. So let's get to these Rumble rants, and then we'll continue on. $5 coming in on Rumble from Alan S333. Freaking great show. Thanks for the breakdown, Alpha. Thanks for the support, Alan, man. You're always here, brother. Appreciate it. $5 coming in from Larry5673 on Rumble. Professional teams communicate. Probably warning Shapiro's team to be on alert. Absolutely agree with you on that one, Larry. $20 coming in from Michelle1791. Thank you for watching the trial and highlighting the important parts for us. Thank you for listening and hearing my assessments. And then dollar for dollar ZBM. I've heard that Jews were the root of all evils, but realistically, of course, they're not. But you're pointing out that Islam could be a huge issue, Alpha. I hope you're not pissing off your good friends. I'm sure I am pissing them off. But again, and this goes for my friends as well, if you only want to bring people's attention to one threat, you're either being naive or you're pushing an agenda, or you're retarded. I'll let you pick which one you are. There are many threats that exist to this country. AIPAC and Israeli intelligence and Mossad in our country, a threat needs to be addressed. So does MI6, so does CCP, so does the Muslim Brotherhood. These are all existential threats to our country. And to say that one is more dangerous than the other one is just naive, because what you're not recognizing is they're all tentacles of the same damn octopus. And so if you're only going to focus on one tentacle, we got to destroy the damn octopus, which means we have to address all the threats. We have to realize that we are surrounded, and we have to fight on multiple flanks. And guess what? The really smart people and the really, courageous fighters, they can fight in a full 360-degree circle. And that's where we're at. A couple more Rumble rants came in. Dollar for dollar. G-Fontes 119. Dollar holla. I like that. And Skak $17 coming in from Miss Rhea Freedom Fighter. How dare you think I don't love you? You better. I hope you're working out. Dollar for ZBM. For no good reason, from my perspective, Islam will always be a detrimental issue to Western Christian nations, especially to those that were the original Christian nations, most being Islamic nations. I don't disagree with you on that one. And give me 1 second while I move this out of the way. And let me get over here to the super chat that came in. Throw this up on the screen for you guys real quick. So you guys don't have to just look in my eyes, be all weird. Sherry Bertrand, 4026 with a $10 super chat says, God bless America, Alpha, your family. I'm a quiet watcher and I've learned so much from you. Barry, Josh. Much love, respect, and gratitude from this proud Christian American grandma. We got this. Thank you. You named two other really great guys right there with Barry and Josh. Love both of them too. And thank you guys for being here and supporting the show. And now with that, let's bring this thing home. We'll fly through this last part because it is at that 2 hour. And we just got rated by Matrix Codebreaker has rated the stream. Here's what's funny. Matrix, if you're in here watching as well, and I don't know if you're probably cleaning up the ends. I was looking at some live shows because I was like, all right, which one do I want to raid when this show ends? And I was actually going to raid your, just so you guys know, I don't know who Matrix Codebreaker is, but I saw the channel. I was like, oh, that looks really cool and looks really interesting. I'll send my audience that way. He beat me to it. So Matrix, or she, Matrix, thank you. And for your audience that's jumping in, thank you for joining us. And I hope you make this an extended home for you. Let's go and let's bring this into the end. Again, you guys have probably seen this video a lot. Hold on, you guys can't even see me anymore, huh? Hello, Alpha, fix this. There you go. Sorry about that. Rightly Divide says, good example, Alpha. Deep state globalists are everywhere. Root is Satan's policy of evil. I agree. And Populous 8 says, bing, bango, boom. I like it. Miss Loyal dropping a $5 Rumble rant there at the end. Missy Lola, I like it. But again, you guys have probably seen this video. We talked about it at length last night on DeathCon on Badlands. But for those of you that haven't seen it, I do want to play it. One of the reasons I want to play it is Elon has now posted this a third time. So obviously there's something important. Now, not going to get into it yet, but an amazing audience member went and did some research and sent me some information on the back end. One of the things, and Josh had this assessment with me too, is it's like, well, we know Elon didn't make this video, and Anon made this video. Elon's reposting it. However, Cat Mobile says MQB is a good guy, Alpha. Well, listen, I think so. He rated the stream. That's already in the positive look. So again, matter of fact, hold on, folks. I got to make sure I go over here and throw a subscribe so I can go and support these guys. So give me 1 second and let me do a follow right here. There we go. As a matter of fact, let me do this because we got to take care of each other, right? Let me grab this link. Let me copy it. Let me post it in the Rumble chat so you guys can go and make sure you guys give Matrix Q to Breaker a follow as well. So that way my audience also has that. There we go. All right, let's get into this now. So this amazing audience member, and if you're watching tonight, if I have your permission, I'd love to give you credit since you're the one that did the legwork on this. In the next couple of days, if I agree with your assessment, it's definitely looking like I'm going to. Let me know. Just message me the way you did prior. And if I have your permission, I'd love to give you credit for, again, doing the legwork on this. But essentially, in very short form, yes, an Anon made this, but maybe there was something established from Elon and this Anon before to create this. That's all I'm going to say now, because just in case we're both wrong on this one, I don't want to get ahead of my skis on it, but it's looking very promising. So again, to the point, Elon's posted this a third time. So at a minimum, it has enough significance that he wants to make sure that we're seeing this. So, and I don't think you guys would be tired of watching anyways, because it's a kick-ass video. So let's watch this. We'll do a quick breakdown. And if you do want an extensive breakdown to this, then go watch last night's DEFCON that we did on Badlands. It's probably, I think it's the biggest show that me and Josh do throughout the whole week. And you can watch the detailed assessment. So let's keep going. That's enough talking. Aside from all of the messaging that's coming out of there, what a kick-ass song. Like, I like it. I like it. The timing of it couldn't be any more perfect. And again, originally when it came out, we're like, oh shit, Elon put out this video and it's a Q video. And then we're like, oh, and Anon made it. So yes, it kind of took some of the excitement out because, well, of course, an Anon's going to incorporate this symbolism into it. Still important though. Because even if Elon would have just posted it once, still very obvious the Q references that exist within this video. And again, Elon's well aware of this, right? It's Twitter or X now, right? So he's well aware of it. Then he posted it a second time. So if anybody wanted to make the argument, well, yeah, if he would have realized it, he wouldn't have done it. No, he doubles down, does it a second time. And then last night, he does it a third time. And again, all the popular phrases are in there, right? At least some of them. Where we go one. Obviously, I have it paused at the minute 9 second mark where you can see the Q post that's in the background right there. Now, I want to, again, bring your attention back to what this great audience member did some legwork, did some research. What if we found out that, yes, Anon created this, but what if we found out he got pushed to create this and that push came from Elon? Then it's like, did the Anon, and I'm going to see if I can reach out to him, see how much he's willing to share. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But how much more powerful would it be if there was some encouragement that came from Elon to be like, yeah, no, go hard with Q on here for the people that are out there. Maybe incorporate this. I don't know. But if that turns out to be the case, again, it's already significant. But if that turns out to be the case, then this thing just exponentially got better because, again, there are a lot of people out there that they have dug their heels in the sand so much. They just want Q to be fake. They just, even if it means hurting our nation, I don't even think they realize it, but even if it means that, That's how much they just want it to be fake because, they chose the wrong side. And unfortunately, they're going to be very disappointed when they realize that they chose the wrong side. I saw some people mention Space Shot. I've heard a lot of great things about Space Shot as well. And I think I saw Matrix in the chat too. Matrix. One, thank you for rating the stream and hanging out with me and my peeps here. But we have a really big Q show that we do on Tuesday nights, me and Josh, and huge audience that's over there. And man, if we can help out some of you guys that are also doing Q shows, reach out to me, man. You can, if you're on Twitter or X, you can reach out to me there, or on Instagram or any one of those accounts, or you can, if you don't have any of those social medias, because Rumble don't let us message each other yet, you can email me at alpha@thealphawarriorshow.tv, and maybe we can bring you guys on and you guys can pimp out your shows to the audience we have, because if we can help the community grow, definitely would like to help out with that. And if you guys want to communicate that to Space Shot as well, do it there. Again, it's a big audience, and everybody should be helping each other. I wish we did that more. So again, let's bring it back to the obvious one here. 4559, July 1st, 2020. And just in case you weren't paying attention, let me go big on this so you guys can see a little easier. Again, July 1st, 20 back down the screen. And again, of course, it would make sense given the non made it, but I don't want to take away from it. And this also one of Josh's favorite posts. That's why he made the song off of it. You guys go peep it out. The highlight there is just from a show I did a very long time ago, but it's cool, right? Now let's move on. You got Michael Sala that puts, Elon keeps posting the following song on his X feed. So there's something in the lyrics that he wants to bring to our attention without breaking any NDAs. Here's my guess about what he is secretly conveying from the song lyrics. So tell me, is it going to be free energy forever or just the same damn old grind? Trump wants to signal free energy will be released by somebody, thereby breaking the oil industry monopoly on energy and space travel. Where we go one, we go all. Musk is signaling he supports the Q movement and what was predicted in terms of mass arrests, etc., of the hidden pedophile elite coming soon. And then again, if you can hear from the other side across this great quantum divide, don't get me wrong, now is the time to stay strong. Is Musk here alluding to the sensation of the large hardened collider and the deep state control over future timelines has been removed, leaving it to humans' free will to collectively manifest our destiny? I would also want you guys just to consider, and I don't know if this is the case, it's just I'm going to shoot from the cuff on this one because it's one of the things that I thought about when I was watching this video on Can You Hear Me From the Other Side? If you guys remember when Fourth Sob did the second video, the second Ghost in the Machine one, some people I interviewed and some other people have had this interpretation on where is that coming from? Is that something that's coming from the other side? It's wild to me, folks. It is. 10 years ago, you guys tried to have this conversation with me. I'm going to say you guys are all fucking crazy. You have lost your mind and y'all need to be on meds in a crazy house. But I'm not in that normie world of being a detective anymore. I'm a detective in your guys' world now. So it kind of makes me smile every time that I'm like, that shit really come out of my mouth? Yes, it did. And this is where we're at. If you guys have watched any of the shows that General Quas has done or watched some of the speeches that he's done at other schools, and if you've heard the information he's provided with regards to energy and the energy that we'll be getting from space and how that's facilitated, things are going to change, folks. 500-year leap in technology in 20 years, 2 decades, 500-year leap in technology. And just a small sample of that is this video. Think about where we were with AI content and music 2 years ago. And look at where we're at now. It's getting to the point where some of these videos are hard to determine if there was AI. Imagine where we're going to be 2 years from now, 5 years from now. What a time to be alive, folks. What a time to be alive. Don't let no one steal your joy. Speaking of joy, America puts out President Trump. As we're seeing now, communism is the greatest threat to our country. It's like cancer that spreads and you better stop it fast. We'll never let the United States become a communist country. No, we won't. There's too many great people that want to fight this. We covered that a lot over the last couple shows, so I'm going to fly through these. Anna Paulina Luna pass the Save America Act. You guys know my thought process on this, on why it's not going to pass and how that's intentional for the move that Trump's going to make. But again, who's she communicating to here? I see some frogs in that image. Accept our election fraud, the redcoats say. And of course, you got the good guys, kiss our ass. I mean, these are current government officials, folks, putting this out there, and it's glorious. And again, when we go to the timestamp on her, 7:49 my time, so this would be 10:49 p.m. Eastern. And so when we go to 22:49 for the military time, brings us to this post, important graphic. How do you catch a fish? Use bait. Imagine information being shared now out of fear. But let's go to the graphic and make it big. We covered this at length again last night. And in the interest of time and the fact that I am very, very tired, I won't go over it. But again, this ties into the conversation we had with Paul Sperry's article that has to do with the Crossfire Hurricane, the information coming, the new evidence and information coming from Admiral Mike Rogers, who is being interviewed as a witness. And we saw the list of all the people that were put in there, Brennan, Comey, the who's who of all the Crossfire Hurricane stuff. And again, that ties into this. And what do we have here? No intelligence shared through that channel, Five Eyes, Nunes. I mean, it just all kind of has this all comes to this small window, this small time frame where it all just supplements each other. And I think it's significant. The White House puts out Eagle Screech. And, most of these I covered. So I'm going to fast forward to where are we at? This one. I covered it last night. But again, if you guys didn't watch DEF CON, this one was super cool. And I want to make sure we cover it for you guys. The director of the CIA comes out and he puts, on the eve of our nation's 250th birthday, we proudly share the CIA's Freedom Quilts. This example of patriotic pride represents the agency's rich history of preserving and protecting America's freedom. Now, if you see that, you're like, oh, there's 19. Because first thing I did as I counted, I'm like, oh, I want to see if there's 17, right? Because we're always looking for our 17s. I was like, oh, there's 19. But then I saw another post. And I was like, oh, let's dig deeper. Let's dig deeper. And I found something cool as shit. So what you're seeing here is there's actually 17 quilts that are focused on a coded message that's in here. Yes, folks, there's a coded message in here. And you got the two square ones. The one with the little spearhead is a reference to the OSS, the predecessor of the CIA, and then obviously the eagle emblem on top of that for the current one. So to explain what this means, and so you can see the coded message, and then I'll kind of give you what I think is kind of being tipped off towards us here. But first, let's watch this quick clip. It's only about 90 seconds, and this is pretty cool. I think you guys will enjoy it.
Did you know these quilts contain a hidden message? CIA Museum's collection contains many expressions of American patriotism, including this large exhibit of red, white, and blue quilts. The narrow quilt panels represent dots, while the wide quilt panels represent dashes. Each group of panels represents a letter. Together, the panels spell out the word freedom in Morse code. Each panel contains either 2 or 4 white stars for a total of 50 stars, 1 star for each state. Alongside the quilts that spell out freedom, there are 2 additional quilts. One depicts the spearhead insignia of CIA's predecessor, the Office of Strategic Services. The other depicts the eagle head from CIA's official seal. Together, the quilts represent CIA's rich history of preserving and protecting America's freedom.
I told you, pretty cool. Now the question is, why? And here's a thought to consider. We look for specific timestamps in videos when a video glitches, right? When there's an image that flashes, and we look for the timestamp, right? We have mastered the craft of that. But I think what is also being told us here is either go back and look for Morse code type of signals into images and videos, or be prepared because we're now going to include these Morse codes moving forward. Again, just a hunch, right? Detectives, we rely on hunches. I would say at a minimum, as you guys have all mastered your craft in decoding, moving forward, start paying attention to these videos to see if you can hear distinct Morse code in the background, where you can separate sounds to isolate it to that and then raise the volume so it's a little easier to hear. Or again, what did he say here? We've used stars on this one. A skinny image represents this, a wide image represents this. Pay attention to these things when we're watching videos and you see something like this in the background, or whatever the case may be, someone in an interview. Just pay attention to this stuff. I have a feeling that moving forward, if they haven't done it already, that moving forward, that coded Morse code is going to be something for us to pay attention to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But again, let's pay attention to it. And then to wrap this up, you guys, we're going to go back to Eagle Ed Martin. And we talked about this last night. It was cool enough that I wanted to show it again. Andrew Breitbart, he puts war. And just in case you were like, yeah, then he goes and in the comments of this, he puts the video. So he wants you to make sure you see it. A lot would argue that this was a very, Josh would be one of the ones that says this is definitely at a minimum, you could consider it a starting point, but it's very important. And get in everything that's been going on, the Elon videos, what's moving forward, all the stuff that Trump's done, the new Air Force One, the 250th birthday on July 4th, everybody kind of feeling like this reset that happened for us in this. And we know that this fatal funnel, this choke point's coming here before we get to midterms, which is going to work out for us, folks. So don't panic. This one's significant. So I'm going to play this clip. Then after that, I'll give you guys my final thoughts for the night. I'll play the long song that I created for a fun way on the way out, since I've done it the last 2 nights anyways. And then I got to be up in a few hours with CanCon. So we're going to call it a night. So let's play this one for you guys. And then we'll get ready to wrap it up.
All the people that have gone out there against the mainstream media and said, you're going to call us racist? You're going to call us potential Timothy McVeighs? Fuck you. War.
Morale is a weapon, folks. Be motivated. All right, let's get this up here. Let's bring this down here. Just to recap. So tomorrow morning, folks, you'll catch me on Badlands Daily with CanCon, cover the news. I'm pretty sure we're going to argue over the Charlie Kirk trial because we've been texting this week. I don't know. Maybe after today's hearing, CanCon slapped himself a couple times and you'll see the light. And then you'll catch us on our veteran show on SitRep. And then we'll have Overwatch and The Guardian with me and Josh. It's going to be a long day. Somewhere in between all of that, I'm going to find a way to get that one of the shows that I've had lined up for you guys for a few days in there. And then probably Friday, I'll get the other one. I want to get at least 2 of those shows that I've recorded for you guys because they're really important out this week. And then we'll just have to save the other 2 for next week. But I'm definitely going to shoot for one tomorrow, and I'll shoot for one on Friday. Outside of that, again, shout out to Matrix for joining us here. I saw that you do the show with Space Shot on Sunday, so you guys reach out to me. And again, we'll find a Tuesday night. It's a live show that we do Tuesday night, so we'll find a day that works for you guys. You guys can come on and let everybody know about the work that you guys do, so they can go and follow you guys there and support you guys. With that, again, I'll be watching the show I'll be watching the trial amongst all the other things that I do tomorrow, folks. So just remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. Trust but verify. Use your discernment. You have more power than you know. We are winning. God wins. And I am absolutely tired. I'm going to play this long song for those of you that haven't been watching all week. Wrote the lyrics to this, used AI to turn it into a pretty cool, it's an 80s rock ballad, so it's long as shit. It's like 7 minutes, but I really like it, and I hope you guys like it too. So with that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Let me see if any Rumble rants came in. There are some that came in, so I'm glad. I don't want to miss anybody. Let's see, $5 coming from Missy Lola. Jerome Corsi is a Patriot 100. You think so, Missy? Send me why. I don't know, but I love what he was talking about on Bannon's War Room right there. Just don't know if I trust them. So give me some information, Missy, so I can have your confidence when it comes to that. And let me see if any super chats came in here at the end, so I don't miss anybody. Yes, we got a new one that's showing over there. ARWD4H became a YouTube member. Welcome to the family. And with that, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Good night. God bless and Semper Fi.
Years ago, a fire broke against the night. No crown could own the human soul. No king could take a God-given right. From 13 stars against the dark, from blood and smoke and trembling hands, they signed their names beneath the dream and dared the world to understand. Freedom isn't given, freedom isn't free. Every generation has to choose what tomorrow's gonna be. Factory towns, from city streets and sacred ground, from different blood, from different names. But when the darkness came are names carved into stone. There are letters never sent. There are empty chairs at tables where a mother still remembers them. There are flags folded into triangles. There are boots that never came back home. There are fathers in old photographs whose children had to grow alone. So don't tell me freedom costs nothing. Don't tell me liberty survives.